Welcome everybody to today's stream. Welcome, welcome. Hope you had a nice day. Let's continue with some theory crafting, build crafting and all the good stuff. And as always, if you have any questions, just let me know. So here we are. Welcome, welcome. And we are already here, big into the theory crafting, starting directly with a very interesting theory craft here. I want to get a solo paragon going. Will that work? I have no clue. We will have to see how much damage we can put out, but it will probably be quite interesting. So let's go full damage. Let's go for a full damage build. Let's see it how that goes. We want to have defense. Yes, we want to have that. That's good. Get a lot of adrenaline there. So interesting, so interesting. Welcome, Night Owl. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, but so I was thinking about going for Condi's like Paragon, yeah, but I really think it's really hard. It's really hard to justify it. So I think I will just go and try to make a power build work, and let's see how that one goes. And focus really around like dealing as much damage as possible while having a fast auto attack. That's the important part. We will see why in a second. So I guess we got just like probably like some kind of marauder pieces or something. Something like that. Let's check what we can get here. And we want probably like the main thing that we want is probably just a mace. It's really like a mace in the offhand. That's really good if we can use that, and a dagger in the main hand. That's probably those two already cover like almost everything. The rest is not really that important. So let's leave it like that and see how we can go from there. Welcome, Stavros. Welcome, welcome. Good morning to you too. So what do we want? I guess some more crit chance is probably the way to go. How much do we get actually? No, we don't need that. We have this trait. This is such a good trait. Like this trait alone. Look at this. 25% crit chance increase, like flat on a defined foe. So if you're in a solo scenario, you want to solo a legendary bounty or something, you get 25% crit chance, just straight up. That's insane. It's so good. And then with Fury, you are like, we are already at 100. So yeah, we go dragon pieces. Yeah, that's what we need to go. Dragon, and I guess even more dragon pieces. And remove the accuracy again. And what would we do? Maybe we can remove some boons. So let's do it like that. And I guess what else do we need? Maybe some Condi clans. Maybe what could we get here? I guess when in doubt, like put in some frailty sigil. It's okay. But it's frailty sigil on a power build without any expertise. You always have to understand this gives 2 stacks for 8 seconds. So that means in the 8 seconds we get 8 stacks. Yeah, we get 1 stack per second. We can upkeep them exactly the same length. So that means that we have 8 stacks of Vuln on there permanently, which is 8% damage increase. So it is still worth it in a longer fight than if you would go, for example, for a Force Sigil or something like that. So it's still worth it, but only on paper. So we will see if that's actually making it work. But we have 50% boon duration. We have with Fury almost exactly the crit rate that we need, so I guess we take a little bit more crit rate. Let's go for commander pieces then. But yeah, if you have any questions or any ideas, always appreciate that. So just ask or let me know, and we will talk about it, and hopefully we have some nice, interesting theory crafting going on here, or just questions that you have and answer them. Welcome, B-Dog. I made an alt character and now don't have certain areas unlocked. How do I get to those maps without playing the story? What did you do for all your alt characters? So this is a character that I play, and I have, I think, even the core map completed, but I have not, for example, been to like a lot of the Crystal Desert maps, for example, Domain of Wabi. So what do? First of all, if I need to get to a map that is very like specific that I did not go to yet on this character, let's say, I don't know, anything like, let's say Drizzleboard Coast, yeah, then first of all, you have to play the story once on your first character. On the second character, I never play story. Never, ever. So there are 2 ways to get there. So either you purchase with the first character, Wizards portal tome, so any tome that is in the wizard's portal thing, like the Aberstorm portal scroll, you can also get a portal tome that is used, for example, for Icebrood Saga, and then you can teleport to Drizzlewood Coast. That is one way to get there, even if you have not been there with this character. And the second way, that is very lazy but costs a little bit of investment, is the recharging teleport to friend. This is insane. So that means just if you want to join an event, let's say any meta event, let's say you want to join in Visions of Eternity with this character, I was never there. So Shipwreck Strand, okay, I want to do the meta event, join this group, and then I can join, no, I can't join in this instance, but then you can double click this item and teleport to one party member here, and you can actually get there as well. You can also use the one-time charge, so teleport to friend just once, or you can use the recharging one. Both of them work perfectly fine. That's the two ways that I do. Other than that, just accept it and have to go there via the story. That's the two ways. Yeah. Welcome, Burst. Welcome, welcome. I think Amalgam is really good. It's really, really good. Really surprisingly and very fun. Yeah. Yes, it is good. It is good. Amalgam, I have some really cool builds coming up for Amalgam as well, so keep an eye out for that. But I think like Amalgam, good one, very good one. Okay, so we don't need, do we need Might Generation? I think we have like, do we have Might Generation? I think we have some Might Generation. We don't need that. I guess we can go for more Signets just to stack up some stuff. Let's try it like that. Do we have enough CC to upkeep that stuff? I guess we do. Let's try it out. Let's do some pre-stacking of the Signet buffs just to see how it is. We can do that in a real fight as well. And we have this trade on. Okay. I guess that's okay. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. So this is a solo build focused around like dealing as much damage solo as possible. But we have to see how much that actually is. Yeah, it's surprisingly little. It's surprisingly little. But the sustain is quite high. This is a medium damaging field, and I'm only relying on auto-attacking to heal myself. It's a low intensity solo build, I would say. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. But it's I think like upkeeping the boons. It's upkeeping the vulnerability to a decent amount as well. I mean, it's really low intensity. You just have, I have no hands, you know, no hands, and like doing my DPS here, it's decent. It's decent. But the problem is I'm not sure if I can make a Paragon build that reaches over 20k DPS, even if I would press all my buttons like constantly. I'm not sure if that's how it works. Of course, I have like insane sustain with defense straight line. I could go way more aggressive by going for like strength, for example, but then I would lose a lot of damage. Or a lot of damage reduction and a lot of sustain. I'm not sure if that's the way to do it. Maybe. Like with strength, you know, you could go at this one and this one. And I guess even peak performance, but my sustain would be way, way lower. We can test it here as well, but you will see the difference. You will see the difference. Thanks. No problem, B-Dog. Always happy to help. Yeah, Guardians are really strong right now in PvP. Yes. Welcome, Phoebe. Welcome. Always happy to hear your hello. It's not a problem, not a problem. I'm playing Thief at the moment, Daredevil, and it's been like 5 months. And to be honest, I feel like it's very niche. I was wondering if that niche feeling usually happens with every class. I think the problem with Daredevil is, or Thief in general, with the exception of Spectre, is that Thieves in PvE or in all game modes always fill this assassin-y, bursty, glass cannon-y role. There is almost no exception to this rule. In every single game mode, you play Thief, especially Daredevil, as the assassin. That's it. So I would definitely say that you are right. That Thief, especially Daredevil, is a niche, and you feel that. Is that a problem? Not necessarily. If you enjoy the niche, play it, have fun. If you don't enjoy it anymore, go to a different class, play it. You will see there is a different niche that you can fill with the different class. And I have to be honest, I would say probably all classes, maybe with the exception of Warrior, maybe even with Warrior now, have a bigger niche than Thief. I think Thief is specifically, like, with the exception of Spectre, is the smallest niche that a class has. Because it's always a DPS build, it's always some kind of really aggressive one that is not shining in anything else. Is that a problem? Only for people that don't like this niche or are just grown out of the niche. I would say try a different class, you will have fun, and maybe try out Spectre, which is the closest to Thief, but still having a way bigger niche because you can play full support, you can play a hybrid, you can play full DPS, but you can focus on Condi damage and a completely different playstyle. Because on Daredevil, you would typically, if you play Condi, Dagger, maybe Spear, but if you play a Spectre, you play Scepter Dagger or Scepter Pistol or something, and you have a lot of damage output with a completely different weapon set, a completely different playstyle because of the Shroud. So I think give that a try if you didn't already. And other than that, if you want to go for something completely different, play a different class. Because that's what I do. You know, when I get bored of a specific niche, a specific build, then I go to a different class. I'm not joking here. Since Visions of Eternity came out, it's like now 1.5, 2 weeks or something, yeah, I probably didn't touch my Mesmer at all. My Mesmer I played like for 1 hour since then. All the other classes I played like way more. Why is that? Because I played Mesmer crazy amounts before Visions of Eternity, and now I just play something else. I play all the other classes because there is more fresh air, yeah. So I can play some different things. That's definitely how I do it, yeah. Hope that helps. Okay, so let's try this with Strength again. Way more damage output, like way more, but we have way less sustain. So let's see if that's feasible here. If we can pull that off here. Yeah, you definitely notice the difference in healing. You definitely notice that the healing is way lower. Which is okay, you know, it's not everything has to be like crazy amounts of healing, but I think the damage increase is also like, it's almost barely noticeable. It's barely noticeable. I mean, I didn't stack my signets, so let's try it again with the signet sticking, because that's the thing that I did last time. Remove it, please. Yeah, there we go. And we will try it again. I'm having real fun with Revenant, switching from Conduit to Herald to Windy. Even it's very weak, it's fun. I wouldn't say it's very weak. I think it's like they are just a little bit like not as power crept as the others, but Conduit is very strong. So I would say if you have fun, play it. And I think that's the general rule of thumb for Guild Wars 2. If you have something that is fun to you, play it, because there is almost nothing that in the game is bad, like almost nothing. There are some exceptions, but I would say if you have a build that you enjoy, play it, and you will probably be fine. Yeah, it's higher. It's 15k DPS. You definitely notice like a 1k DPS increase at least for the strength version, but the sustain is like way lower, so I cannot outlast the damaging field anymore. I will die slowly to it. So I think the strength is the more aggressive version, but I think the defense one is probably the way to go, because you also have like insane amount of stability uptime. Yeah, I mean, interesting build, but I'm not sure if that's like a crazy good solo build. Maybe someone else cooks up a Paragon solo build that is better, but this is working, but not crazy good. Let's see what else we can do. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome. Playing Power Conduit because I don't have the gold to make the Condi one. Yeah, I think Power Conduit is like, I don't want to say it's trash, but you know what I mean. It's like if you have a power build that reaches not even 40k DPS consistently, then you have a problem. This is a power DPS build, and it reaches lower DPS than any of the crazy tanky builds like Scourge or like Power Condi Virtuoso. So it's like, why would you pick that build? It's really bad. So Power Conduit is really needs some love. I really think they have to buff it, maybe change the numbers, maybe give it a different attack or something on the Assassin stance. I don't know. But Condi is really good. It's extremely strong Condi Conduit. Power Conduit on the other hand, I don't know. Feels like there is something missing. I really feel like they should get some help to it. In general, I think, to be honest, I had a lot of fun. Yesterday I released on my YouTube channel the Condi Conduit build, and I had a lot of fun training this build, having like a blast playing it in like real fights and stuff like that. But the problem is, and I'm not joking here, this is like a classic Condi Revenant build. It's like Condi Herald, it's like a Condi Renegade, they all feel somewhat the same. So it's a Condi Revenant build, and I liked it. But I think a Conduit would have been the perfect place to make a healing Revenant actually viable, because you could put some alacrity, some quickness on Ventari, and you provide immense amount of healing and really good boon uptime. And I think if you have decent boons or traits, you could actually make some other boons work as well. And then I would think that would be a really cool Revenant healer. But they didn't. And now Conduit is the only DPS build and the power build is shit. So why would you actually play anything else than Conduit? And I think there will be a nerf coming. I actually expect the nerf this week or next week, that there will be a nerf to the damage output of, for example, Evoker, Antiquary, Ritualist, Conduit, Luminary. I think expecting some nerfs to the damage output, just to the raw numbers. And then it's not any special. It's not special anymore. Why would you pick a Conduit over Renegade? I guess maybe it has slightly more damage. Maybe it's new, but I think there should be something on Conduit. I'm really a little bit, I wouldn't say like disappointed, but I expected a little bit more flexibility from Conduit. That was my big hope there. But it's fun. Welcome, Snowdrop. Welcome. How's Mesmer endgame? Mesmer is really good. In all game modes, Mesmer is a really good class, but if you're a new player, choose the class that you like. There is no class that is bad in the endgame. There are currently 4 elite specs, so subclasses for each class that you could choose. So we have 36 subclasses. And I'm not joking, with the current balance, each of those subclasses is good. So choose the one class that you like, one of those 9, and you will have a very good spot in endgame. It doesn't even matter which game mode you play, you will find a very good class or very good build for this class that you chose. So choose the one that you enjoy the look of. That's my tip there. Okay, so we want to do a solo Ritualist guide. So how can we do that? I put some commander pieces on there just to see if we need the boon duration. Maybe we don't even need it. I think a little bit boon duration might not hurt. And then we go probably like some kind of Marauder mix. Let's check what we can do. Marauder scales very nicely with the Ritualist Shroud. So Ritualist is like very tanky and you get more life force depending on how much vitality you have. So getting more vitality on a Necromancer with a Shroud is always a good sign. So we will go there. Yeah, Evoker is disgusting. I will go to Evoker later. I will try this now. Paragon, I would say, failed a little bit as a solo build. We will now try a solo Ritualist, how we can make that work. If that works, and we will see if it performs well. I will try it in real fights as well. And after that, we have some other things that I have cooking up that I have some ideas about. Welcome, Nilsson. Welcome. Virtuoso is really strong. Yeah, Virtuoso is like, I think Virtuoso, people underestimate how strong Virtuoso, for example, in World vs. World is. You have a trait that makes your blade songs, so your F skills unblockable. So that means you can attack through reflects, deflects, and stuff like that. And that means that in a circ, you can completely demolish targets. It's crazy. And you have piercing. It's really, really underrated. It's really, really good. So what do we choose? We definitely want the quickness trait. I mean, that much is for sure. I guess we also want the soul twisting trait. It's also so good. There's, you know, you're almost locked in those traits already as a power quickness like build. They are so good. What else do we want? Probably more crit chance while in Shroud. I guess that can't hurt. Yeah, that's probably also the way. I guess Shroud skills inflict vulnerability is good to get some more vuln up. Yeah. We already have like half the build going there. I like the Ranger. What build should I go for? Martins, if you can wait a couple of hours, I have a build guide coming up for you. Gale Shot is on the menu today on my YouTube channel. So it's really good. Gale Shot, you play full Berserker with like being very aggressive, maybe longbow, maybe something like that. And then you have a really good Gale Shot build. The new Ranger is really good. If you're starting out from scratch, if you're a new player, don't worry. Play what you like, try out some new things. I would say try to go for builds that you enjoy the weapons of, enjoy the playstyle of. So if you're like enjoying short bow, you will go more in the Condi direction. If you enjoy longbow or sword or something, you go in the power direction. Just try out some new stuff while you are leveling. That is my recommendation. Welcome, Filthy. Welcome. How are you doing all today? Hopefully it's a nice weekend for you. I am like just enjoying myself here, theory crafting and having some fun. And hopefully we can try out some builds later as well. Welcome. Been watching your Zero to Hero VODs lately. They've been really helpful. I'm thinking about getting into this game myself. I mean, that's perfect. That's the idea of this like series. It's not the end, don't worry. So I just like have some kind of hiatus now. I'm a little bit of a break during the expansion, but after that I will go back and do a second season. Yeah. So if you enjoy that, more to come. And yeah, so if you haven't seen it yet, I think I should have like made the, give me a second, pinned comment here in the Twitch chat. If you haven't seen it, yes, I still have a 1,500 gold giveaway going on because I want to celebrate my subscriber count on YouTube. So be sure to check that one out if you want to participate. It's the last day, so last chance to enter. The same goes, of course, for the YouTube viewers. Link to it is in the description in the YouTube stream as well. So we will like mention it a little bit often in the stream, but it's definitely something that I want to give some attention to because everyone should have the chance of winning there. I want to give something back for you. That's the idea. So what do we want to do here? I guess it's really interesting. The choices here are not like insanely crazy. I guess the Condi remove one is good. Let's go full weapon spells. Why not? You know, why not? Would probably not be the most amount of damage, but I guess it's better than nothing. And passive lifesteal, I guess. So I guess we don't need the quickness because we can take the Pirate Queen relic, which is like you would always no. We don't have to. We have to. What I'm talking about. We have quickness. We are ritualist after all. We have quickness. So what do we do? Probably Sakiro's relic to heal ourselves. We could go for Mist Stranger, but Mist Stranger for me seems like way worse healing than Sakiro's on most builds, and this one particular because you're in Shroud half the time, which doesn't heal you. So Sakiro's is the way to go. We need some Fury uptime. How do we get Fury? How do we get Fury? We have to take Dread for that one then, I guess. Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's probably the way to do it again. Yeah, more power from Might. Yes, that's what we want. And just 10% more damage, I guess. Yeah. Seems like decent, yeah. Yeah, theory crafting, I think, like, especially in the beginning of a expansion, I think theory crafting is something that no one else streams, you know? A lot of people release build guides, and they might be really good, but I think it's fun for new players specifically, but also for a player that is more intrigued about the game already, that knows about all the things, just talk about some ideas and try them out. And that's why I stream it. That's a very interesting, like, aspect of my theory crafting to share my thoughts about it and maybe get some new input from you as well. Yeah. Took me 10 hours testing characters before I chose Mesmer. I mean, that's okay. That's how you can play this game. And don't worry, you can always come back to different characters as well. Yeah. I'm new to the game and can't decide between Necro or Revenant. I play solo mostly, which is more for solo play. Both of them are god tier in solo. Like, it's really good. If you cannot decide in terms of like what is the better class fantasy for you, I would say Necromancer is more flexible, whereas Revenant is very niche in some situations because it cannot fill the healer role, for example. But if you're playing solo, both of them are perfectly fine. There is not a single, I wouldn't say one of them is better. I cannot give that clear answer. But I would say if you ever want to go into group play, I would say personally, Necromancer is more flexible. Yeah. If I learn how to play Bladestone really good, is it good for fractals and raids? Oh yes. If you really like go to the golem, get the rotation down, and then for Bladestone specifically, learn the encounters. So if you're, for example, going into Veil Guardian, you have to understand when the split phases are happening. You have to understand when all this stuff is happening that, for example, needs to be taken care of, like the Seekers or like the Greens or stuff like that. And if you know all of the mechanics of a fight and you play Bladestone, typically you will be top DPS. Bladestone is a build that the player, if they actually know what they are doing and play the build to its highest potential, you will probably always out DPS the others because you have such a crazy good burst profile. And just a really, like, if you have the knowledge about a fight, you can precast stuff and then attack. It's really good. But the problem is that almost no one plays it because you have to understand the class and the encounters so well that most players just don't play it. In pucks at least. In tryhard groups it's more common, especially in fractals it's way more common. Just wanted to mention that here. If you like it, go for it. You will have some challenge, but it will be really, really good if you perform it. How do you unlock your F2, F3, F4 in combat? It depends. So if you're talking about Ritualist, you have to summon your like Spectres or Spirits first. So if I summon my Spirit here, I will get access to my F3. So you have to summon it first, and as soon as you like leave Shroud, you get like the Spirits leaves, and you will also lose the Innervate Wanderlust. That's how it works. Teach me to fish and I will never go hungry again? Yeah, always, exactly. That's the idea. Like, if you talk about build crafting and making some interesting ideas and bringing up some my thought processes, that's the thing that you actually can take advantage of and hopefully can also theory craft yourself then. Exactly. tell me which legendary armor should I craft, heavy or medium? It depends what kind of builds you're playing. I would say personally, in like 90% of the cases, heavy is more actively played and has more flexibility in terms of what kind of gear loadouts you might need. So especially Guardian, but also Warrior and Revenant have way more ways to play. But I think just from a raw statistics perspective, I think heavy is the better choice. But if you have play Amalgam all the time and Druid all the time, then I guess it's better to go for medium. So I would say choose the one that you play more. That's probably the way to do it. But if you play all of them the same, I would say heavy might be a bit more flexible with the legendary armor. But in the end, you should probably get all of them. Yeah. So a 3-button Evoker build yesterday, doing 37k, not even relying on Flavor and Firebox shenanigans. Balanced as all things should be. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said earlier, I think Evoker, Antiquary, Ritualist, even Conduit to some extent, and Luminary, I expect the damage numbers to just drastically being hammered down in the next 2 weeks. I think that, like, if you have a build that uses 3 buttons, reaches 37k DPS, you can play, think about that. You can play a condition Staff Evoker, yeah, which is like already like cursed to say condition Staff on Elementalist. But you can play that fire locked and reach 57k or something, or 53k as a staff, which is one of the worst weapons on Elementalist to play, specifically as a Condi build. But you can play that and it reached such high numbers. I think this has to be nerfed. Whatever they do, there has to be some kind of nerf to it. It's too insane, this build. So we will have to see how they do it, but it will be interesting. It will be interesting. But for now, we can have some more fun with the crazy good builds. Yeah. What's a good class spec for a complete noob? I think you should choose the class that you like, and then you will go from there. There are so many easy builds out there for every class. I would say if you have no preference, not at all, I guess Necromancer is an easy class to choose. Maybe even Warrior, because it's quite linear, straightforward. But choose the one that you like the class fantasy of. Really, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. Staff is usually support, I would say. It's a support weapon, but you can still get this to like over 50k DPS, which is insane. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. Yes, exactly. You summon the spirits for extra damage on a power build, and on a support build, you summon it for some support, because you can also get some nice support out there. So we will try it out not like this. So do we get some nice might uptime? I'm not sure. We will have to try it. So for now, we go with Sakira's Relic. We have some Commander's Pieces. What kind of weapons would we choose? What kind of weapons would we choose here? Probably like a spear might be a good choice. In general, spear is always a good choice for power builds on Necromancer. What else could we choose? We could go for Greatsword. We could go for probably Dagger is maybe even better for some Life Force generation out of combat. Yeah, and we want to have a fear option with like Veil of Dooms so that we can proc our Dread consistently to get some Fury uptime. I think that makes sense. Let's try it like that. Let's go here for, I guess, let's do it for Berserker and check how much crit chance we actually have with Fury. We need some, maybe we need some Frailty and Strength to stack up more might. We will have to see. Let's try it like that. Just like thinking out aloud, and maybe it will work. Maybe it will be complete unnecessary or even bad. We will have to see. We can take Absorption just to see. So that's like crazy. Almost perfectly at the spot with the Fury. That's insane actually. That's just like, okay, with food we will be there if we choose the correct food. That's crazy. Okay, so let's try it like that. Let's see how it goes. I was maining Kata Spear. Do you think there is a way to make Spear work on Evoker? So Evoker in PvE is, I would say, Scepter. Like, Scepter is so perfect for the build on Evoker that you will probably play Scepter all the time. But I will play some Spear Cutter in competitive, Evoker in competitive modes. It's insanely good. I will play it later in PvP and maybe even World vs. World. It's really good. But if you're talking about PvE only, so what can I say? If you lock yourself, Spear is shit. If you swap between all the different attunements, I think it's doable, but it's still way worse than Scepter. I think the problem is Scepter is so good, and the power level of the other weapons, especially on Evoker, is just so low that either they nerf down Evoker and all the weapons are shit, or they nerf down Scepter and buff up the others so that you have some other weapons to choose. But I think Evoker is in such a weird spot because the Scepter carries it like crazy. Any other weapon that you would lock yourself or would play around, Evoker would not shine. But with Scepter in the main hand, maybe Pistol even, you can get crazy 50k plus damage numbers. So I'm not sure if they can make a Spear work on Evoker, but they have to buff it first. Just straight up, yeah. Dagger Thief build you can recommend? Oh yes, there you can play a solo Dagger Thief that I have on my YouTube channel. You can play that one, but you can also play like, how is it called? Full DPS Power Dagger or full DPS Condi Dagger. There are so many Daredevil builds that are really, really good there. Yeah, always happy to hear that, Rompenstein. Always happy to hear that. Funnily enough, LI builds are a good way to judge the power potentials, and most of them fall into the 29 to 32k range at 2-3 buttons. So Evoker will probably be nerfed like 5 to 7k on the top end. Yeah, I guess that's okay. You know, I think that's a very good like thinking process there. I'm not sure if like they will nerf down all the damage builds to around 50k DPS, because I feel like we have like Antiquary reaching 60k or even higher. So just butchering it by 10%. Or like not by 10%, by 16%. I think that might be something they have to do. But for Evoker, something similar might happen. I agree. I don't know. I really don't know why. I mean, playing Guild Wars 2 is not for everybody. Let's leave it like that, MD. I think I would not judge anybody that doesn't like Guild Wars 2. Some people like it. That's just how it is. I like Guild Wars 2. That's why I make some crazy content here. But not everybody is like that. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have a specialized elements trait on Evoker build, low intensity solo build, but I will try to make a build later actually today that is solo focused on Evoker, not using the specialized elements trait and still having probably a really good amount of damage as well. We will have to see what comes up there. I just bought Visions of Eternity. I'm a new player. I'm level 80 now, but I'm still a thief. How do I unlock the elite spec? So you have to get more hero points. So those hero points you can get from the core map, you can get from the Visions of Eternity maps. You have then to go there, like you would normally level your Curses trade line, or on Thief your Trickery trade line, and then you go to Elite Specialization and get to all of them here, unlock them. There is an unlock button, that's how you do it. And then you get it. So get hero points, either from the new maps or from World vs. World, you can purchase it there. And then unlock it. That's how it does. Yeah. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 PvP is very fun. It's really sad that Guild Wars 2 PvP is not as big as it could be. I really think so. So let's try it out. Let's go in. Let's see how it goes. So we want to see how much damage potential this build might have. I mean, the boon output is good. The boon output is good. Let's see how much damage we deal when we like stay in Shroud for longer. The vulnerability is there, the might is there, the fury is there. I think everything is like there. I'm not sure if we actually need the strength sigil and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, like it's not bad. I think it could be like more. My sustain is quite low if I'm not into Shroud. I mean, didn't like expect to have crazy sustain, to be honest. Sakiros after all, but I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, you want to stay in Shroud for the longest as possible, I would guess. Yeah, you have a decent amount of damage. It's okay. It's okay. It's not like insane, to be honest. It's not insane. Could go higher damage probably. Then you heal also more. If you have more damage, you get more Sakiros. It's decent. It's decent for sure. But it's not crazy. Yeah, if you're a new player, PvP is hard. PvP is hard. In any game, I would say, if you play an MMO and you come into the MMO and want to play PvP, any PvP is hard. But in Guild Wars 2 specifically, PvP is really hard. Yeah. I've been playing Healer Paragon as PvP, group PvE content. What is a good Paragon DPS build? It's like full power, probably like 40k DPS right now, full power Paragon. It has some boon support, but it's not shining as much. It's really like, I would rather play a power Berserker than a power Paragon, to be honest. Power Paragon seems like a build that is like, they put it in, but it doesn't really have any other like crazy use case. You typically play a full healer Paragon, or if you want to play aggressive, then I would rather go for a Berserker or something like that, personally. But if you like power Paragon, just use the SC build, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, Paragon support is very fun. It's very fun, I guess. No, it's not necessarily a bad sign if you get top kills in PvP. If you get top kills in PvP, it means that you were involved in most of the fights. It doesn't mean that you actually steal kills from allies. It just means that you were involved in all the team fights and all the fights where a lot of kills happened. That is completely normal that a support might get top kills, because if you don't die, you get most like kills, and then you will get top kills at the end of the match. So I think one of the most important parts in a game in PvP in Guild Wars 2 to look at is how many times did I die and how much like kills was I involved in. If I'm a teamfight DPS or a roamer and have the highest amount of kills, that's good. And if I didn't die, that's even better. The raw amount of damage and healing that you did in a fight is not really important as long as you survive and get kills. So let me talk about this like a little bit more in specific. If you get like 20k burst on a target and the target goes into downstate, you made 20k damage, but you killed it. If you would deal 100k damage over the course of 5 minutes and the target never dies, like in a 1-on-1 or something, you will have a higher damage set at the end of a match, but you will not have that much impact. Someone that just bursts the target and gets the kill has way more and important impact than someone that just deals some damage over the course of like 10 minutes, 5 minutes or something. This is why this is so important. Top damage, top healing is not always the most important stat. It's always about getting kills and not dying. Those two stats are way more important. Just wanted to mention that here because it fit. So let's see what we can do. Maybe we have some group play action as well going on. What's the best solo build for roaming right now? We will have to see. We will have to see. I have to get more tests going, but there are so many good ones. It's really hard to nail it down to a single build. I think making, especially for like those, it's really, I would not recommend that to say that. Wait, why did it like fill? No. But yeah. I think like saying one build is the best right now, it's completely unfair. There are so many good ones right now. You should choose the one that you actually like the class of, and all of them have a really good one. Especially for roaming. Roaming is more like a rock, paper, scissors like situation. So one build is really good against another, and there's another build that is really good against that one as well. So it's like a triangle, and or even higher than that. Like there are so many builds that counter each other, counter someone else's build, and then you have like always to think about it like ways like that. There is not a single build that is absolutely the best. That's really important. Yeah, filthy. That's not nice to hear, but I mean, happens. PvP can be really like frustrating at times for sure. You can type exclamation mouse. Thanks, Snowdrop. Exactly. So. Yeah, Necromancer has a really good build for Ritualist. There was a group. Why did they not like post it again? So I want to play like something new. There we go. DPS. Nah, let's play DPS then. Let's play DPS then. And of course, what do we play? We play Conduit. Because that's the build that is obviously no one is expecting. Yes, we play Conduit. Let's have some fun with Conduit. So, there we go. Do you think it's a viable single element evoker roaming build other than water healer? I don't know. The problem is like in competitive modes. Yeah, the problem is that specializing in one element is cutting away, like on paper, it cuts away 75% of your attunements, just straight up from Elementalist. And the problem is Elementalist in the terms of like balance is always designed as a build that provides healing, CC, defenses and damage with one weapon. So that's how it's balanced. If you take away 75% of your potency and just focus in damage or just focus in like mobility or defense or something, you will just lose a lot of the value. Just straight up, you will lose a lot of value. And that is such a big issue in PvP, world versus world, that I don't expect anything else than water to work. I don't see that. In PvE, you don't have that problem because in PvE you can specialize in fire and get full damage and don't take any defenses because you have supporters with you that heal you, that provide boons. But in PvP world versus world, you cannot expect that, or even if you have that, you might still die. So I think in a Circ, maybe you can specialize in fire, maybe you can play some fire, like fire attuned, how is it called? Staff. Maybe that can work, maybe, but I have to try it a bit more. It's not, I'm not completely convinced yet. So we will have to see if like that is something that crazy people can play and cook up. But for now, I expect it's actually quite likely that you play Evoker, yes, but not with the single specialized element straight in PvP. So that's not the best build or best showcase here of the build here, of course, because that's like a rather burst focused fight. But you will see it in later fights as well that this is a very fun, very strong build. I mean, I'm still top DPS. Why am I still top DPS? It doesn't make sense, but okay, that's how it goes, I guess. KO Turtle Safari? Not today, I guess. Which class has the most fluid, feel good weapon skills for you? Oh, from the weapon skills only. I would say Mesmer's Spear is probably the best designed weapon in the game. I think from the fluidness, how it feels, how like fast paced, how like the attacks feel, I would say that's probably my favorite weapon in the game. Yeah, I would probably say that. Do you have a World vs. World guild for me? Sadly not. I don't have any like big connections to World vs. World like guilds or something. You can check out like all the other crazy Guild Wars 2 World vs. World streamers. They have guilds for that and can recommend you there. But I think just like joining World vs. World and asking for guilds and stuff, you will find always someone that is actually interested in like inviting you to a World vs. World guild, or finding like Discord servers that actually look for people specifically that want to get into World vs. World. But it's definitely, with the addition of the, how is it called? The new system with the alliance system, it's definitely a little bit harder to get into guilds, or it's way more important to get into guilds. So we will have to see if they find a way to balance that a bit more and find more interesting places for newer players to get into that, or we will have to see. I personally think it's one of the hardest things to get into the game, is getting into World vs. World in a crazy good way for a new player, because you always are a little bit dependent on the map that you are, or the server that you are queued with. So nice, I have some stability, very nice. So let's see if I can get top DPS again, because this is obviously power scales here very well in this fight. Wait, why did I? Oh my god, I missed it. Now I will not get top DPS. It's fine. I missed, the Spirit Nova action skill. That's the thing that keeps you alive. That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is completely irrelevant. There we go. At least a clean Bone Skinner. I had so bad experience in the last couple of days with Bone Skinner. I had like a group that like wiped 5 times. Like what nowadays with the current power creep? That's insane. That's insane. That's crazy. Yeah, they are actually quite drastic with banning people for like inappropriate language. Like this is probably the most, that's the, Filthy, you have to understand, for ArenaNet, that's the easiest thing they can do. If like the game is getting like toxic, they can easily see if someone wrote in chat something offensive, because they have chat logs. They will ban you instantly for that, because that's something they can easily fix. finding people that actually AFKing or match manipulating is way harder. They don't have any proof of that, only there is no history. Chat logs are there. That's the important part. That's the interesting part here. Yeah, Condi, I think Condi Revenant for me is my most favorite Condi spec. Like, if I would choose one class that I would play as Condi, I think the most favorite one that I have is Condition Conduit or Condition Revenant in general. The problem is, it's not like you would typically not play that in a lot of cases. Like, typically in like, especially like, for example, look, I'm currently playing Icefruit Saga. Yeah. In a real like scenario, if I want to get top DPS, I would play power builds. Like, there is only maybe on this boss here, maybe it would be like decently enough to say, okay, here I play a Condi build. But in like 90% of the bosses, I would always play a power build. So there's no reason, no real reason to play this build, other than it's fun. And the damage output is high. It's still high, don't get me wrong. It's still a high damage output. It's just not as high as it could be. Yeah. If I would play a power build, like, I don't know, maybe even Power Evoker or something like that has higher damage output than this in the short term. In short term, at least. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to justify banning people or something. That's what's ANET's job. It's not my job as a partner or like content creator to talk about this. I think they have to fix their game if some people are toxic, if there are people that are worthwhile banning, that are like whatever, you know, people that are match manipulating, even people that are cheating, they have to ban those people. It's not me that I have to take care of that. And if they cannot do that and the PvP is toxic and like there are players that are crazy in terms of like cheating and stuff like that, that's not good. And they have to fix that. But I think it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I play a lot of PvP and I don't have problems most of the time. Like I actually never had a bot or like a, at least maybe it's my elo, maybe it's because I'm playing to different times, but I had never ever a problem with like cheaters or something like that. Never. So I don't know. I really don't know whose fault that is that you sometimes encounter them and sometimes don't. But I think it's people overestimate how many there are, at least for me. So what's the best solo build? We will do a tier list about that at some point. I cannot answer that yet. I have to try out all of them first. I would say it shifted a bit. Yeah, I think the new specs and the new relics specifically made a lot of builds shine that did previously not. So we will have to see. So I cannot answer that question yet. Yeah, the new masteries for the skimmer are amazing. I agree. Really, really good. Yeah, it's really like, if you play Condi, I just want to showcase it here, but if you play Condi in Icefruit Saga strike missions, typically the only Condi boss that you would really say exists is probably Whisper. All the others, it's like power, all the way. Only power. Which new elite spec would you say is the most fun in your opinion? I really enjoy Gale Shot from like a raw, like class fantasy perspective, and like the feedback is really good. Like if you like burst attacks, stuff like that, I think it's really, really fun to play. I personally like it a lot. I know not all people like it because some people say, oh, that's like a class, a build that is a little bit like too boring to play. It just uses attacks that are hitting very often and that's about it. I personally enjoy it a lot, but I know some people don't like it. I personally like Gale Shot a lot. I think Evoker was surprising me how fun it is. But yeah, those two are probably my highest. But I think Amalgam is good. There are so many really, really good ones. I think you should choose the one that you actually like the class generally of. And then you will probably have a really, really fun elite spec with it as well. I think the exception to that is probably like, for me, Ritualist doesn't make click. I'm not the biggest Ritualist fan. I think Ritualist is good. It's really good right now. Don't get me wrong here. But I think it's not like insane. And I also think it's not my class fantasy. That's the main part here. Yeah. Oof, that hurts. This is such a broken skill, by the way. You know, that's the best healing skill on Revenant after like the Glint heal. Why is that? Because it's a 75% damage reduction. That's insane. You can just face tent most of the attacks. 75% damage reduction. It's crazy good. That's really good. So maybe we can get another one here. Are we top DPS? Barely, barely. Even in this power-based fight. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, Amalgam is also very fun. But I think for me, I played all specs, and I think Amalgam is like very good, but I think Gale Shot Evoker a little bit better for me personally. But it's like really, like all of them are actually surprisingly good, I have to be honest. In Gallery there are new spears, but some like Spire of Samaruk are not available. Do you think it's a bug or adding them later? I think Internet will add the spears later. I'm pretty sure that they already exist in the wardrobe, that you can see crazy amounts of spears that are not actually there. Is not a bug. Like you see a lot of those have like this work in progress symbol. I think they will add those spears from existing sets. Like for example, there is a crate spear, but you can, like, they will add the spears. Some of them don't exist yet, some of them exist, some don't. We will see. But I would probably like say 90% certainty they will add those very soon. I don't know, with the next update, maybe with like some kind of new Wizards World season or something like that. But I would really expect they will add that. I would be very surprised if they wouldn't. The cleave is good on this build. The cleave is good on this build. I can tell you that. Okay. It's just so fun to see. Have a 70k DPS here. It's so crazy. So look at this build. What the, like over 60k DPS here. Like you know, the bosses died so fast. The power creep is insane. They have to do something about it. It's crazy how high DPS numbers are. Not only the DPS numbers, but also like if you, for example, Ritualist presses 3 buttons and has like 10 boons to the party. But if you like play, for example, like old school like Druid or something, you had to like do like 3, 5, 6 combos of actually getting the boons up. It's really the power creep in terms of like raw, how easy it is to reach really good numbers with heal or DPS is really crazy. I'm not talking that it's too easy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the bosses cannot live up to that anymore. That's the main problem that I'm encountering here. They just cannot keep up with that. Yeah, Luminary, it's fine. Not everyone has to understand or like every single spec. I think it's very good for internet to make unique specs that are somewhat like, some people like them, some people don't like them. Because making specs that everybody likes, but they are not very unique, is the wrong way. I think an elite spec has to be something that is new. And for example, Antiquary is very new. Some people hate it, but I would say it's better to make a spec that some people hate and some people love than making a spec that everybody's indifferent about. That might be my hot take here, but I personally think that's way smarter to do it. I know some Thief mains will hate me for saying that, but I think it's the truth. That's how you sell expansions and how you make most players engaging with the new content. It's coming in 3 hours, the Ranger video, yes. Luminary is really good. Luminary is really good in all game modes right now. Probably one of the best new specs across the board. Not only in damage numbers, but also in like raw utility it provides. So I would say it's probably the spec that I would say is, if there will be nerfs to this, like the new specs coming, I would say it's quite likely that Luminary will be not with it, because the damage numbers are not as broken, but just the raw design of it seems very, very, very good. So I think Luminary, one of the better ones, if not the best. So yeah, the new raid boss will be happening on like the 3rd of February. At least that's what the Wizards World tells us now. So 87 days until the next raid boss. So it will take a while. It will take a while. Yeah, that would be like filthy. If you bring my hope up here, I would really like to see some kind of like new third generation legendary spear. Maybe you're right. Maybe that will happen. I don't know. I think making a legendary is a little bit more like, especially like because the legendary is like integrated in the unlocking process of others. So I'm not sure how they would do that, but I would like be totally up for that. I would really like that. Yeah. Yeah, the DPS is good. The DPS is good. Did you know that infusions color amalgam slime body? That's cool. That's really cool. That's amazing. I think that those like features are one of the more unique things about an elite spec, if they have some really cool thought processes about that as well. I like that. Good catch. Yeah. An expectation we will get a card thrower spec with antiquary. Yeah, I had the expectation as well. You know, for me, antiquary is like a spec if they would have a different icon teased and like make some kind of artifact or something on as an icon. I think people would not be as upset, or at least I wouldn't have been like a little bit sad about it. But for me, the card throwing aspect would have been really cool. I know a lot of other MMOs or stuff have that already, but I think Guild Wars 2 doesn't have anything like that, and I think that would be really cool. I don't know if it would fit to a thief, but it would be an interesting spec. But putting a card throwing spec, wait, there are way too many people here. Okay. Pulling a card throwing spec as an icon there, and then it doesn't have anything to do with card throwing, like it's just the RNG aspect. I think that was a little bit of a bummer, to be honest. I really think so. I think that if it would have a different icon and if it would have been teased differently, I think it would have been completely fine. It might not be the most favorite spec of most people, but I think it would have been fine. But with the card aspect and stuff, people expected something different than what they got, and people were upset. I think that's the main thing, and that you don't want to make your customers upset already beforehand. Yeah. Don't nerf anything, just buff everything else to 60k DPS. I want to see Pistol Deadeye at 45k. Let's clear everything without our eyes closed. I mean, to be honest, I don't know what the future of Guild Wars 2 looks like. I really don't. But I think a steady increase of power level is not a problem. The problem is more that some of the old fights that should be like still somewhat like making you aware of how to deal with mechanics is just like completely, you ignore everything, like everything, because the damage numbers, the healing output, everything is like so insane that the old fights just lose everything. They are not interesting anymore. And I think that's the main problem. I don't care if people get to clear Raid Wing 1 in like first try. I don't care. I think that's okay. I think the problem is more that the fight becomes way less interesting anymore because you ignore every single mechanic in there. I think that's something that they have to be aware of. Maybe increase the health pools of the fights. Maybe do something else to it. Maybe make some kind of decrease of like damage that you can output if you want to do it in normal mode. I don't know. But either way, I think it's oftentimes seems like the power creep, especially in terms of like feature creep for healers and stuff like that, is making a lot of fights. Look at Fractals, for example, completely trivial. A lot of times, if they don't have one-shot mechanics, Fractals are very easy, like very, very easy to clear, and there is almost no challenge involved anymore. And I think that's a little bit of a bummer, because that is just the fun aspect of Fractals or stuff like that, is often that you don't have the certainty of winning in the first like minutes, and that's completely lost a little bit, I would say, at least. Should have just been 2 dice as a symbol. Yeah, that would be completely, that everybody would love that, to be honest. Maybe they said they will change the luminary symbol and the antiquary symbol, so we will have to see how they change it, but yes, they will adjust it. Can I find a list of meta event train schedules? There are, you can type, you can go in the wiki. The wiki event timers has something like that, but like a real meta train, there are a lot of different ones around, so I'm not sure which one is the best. I'm not a big meta train enjoyer in that regard, but there are a lot of ones, yeah. There we go. That was sweet. Very nice, very good. Yeah, thanks Alcrazy for posting it, exactly. We have the same problem with like jumping passes now that we got Skyscale. A lot of very fun content is just broken. Yeah, I think that's a big problem, you know? It's nice to like make something fancy like the Skyscale, like the Skimmer, like make healers very, very strong. But it's sad if you delete old content in terms of relevance, yeah? So that's the sad part. I don't say power creep is a bad thing. I just say if you don't fix parts that get power crept, like content that you don't do anymore or that is just not as fun anymore, then it gets a problem. Because we don't get enough new content that would actually take care of this. That's the thing. So I think horizontal progression is awesome because you can make every single piece of content relevant, but that means that you also have no power creep to a certain extent. And that is definitely something that they have to be aware of, that they have to fix to some extent, either way with nerfing stuff down or with buffing like bosses' health bars or something like that, or making like for example areas like they did with the Skyscale, making areas where mounts are not allowed, stuff like that. That can definitely help a little bit in terms of the stuff that you can make fun again, because people are forced to play without the Skyscale. We had a really good idea, I think it was Snowdrop to some extent that mentioned that earlier. I think that is a really cool idea, that in a zone that you did not explore before in the core game, in a zone that you did not explore at all, you should not be able to use the fast mounts like Roller Beetle, Skyscale, Griffin and stuff like that. You should not be able to use that. As soon as you explored the map once, doesn't have to be with this specific character, but once, then you can use mounts. I think that is a really cool feature. I think Final Fantasy has that to some extent. I think that is a really cool feature because that would allow the first time exploration of jumping puzzle, of like normal things like map exploration would be interesting and unique. And when you did it once, you experience it in the original way, and then you can go and accept some other stuff. And go faster. That is what I would like. We will see if they do something like that. Yeah, Paragon support is very strong in World vs. World. Very, very good. Is there a good Hammer Catalyst build for solo PvE content? Yes, I have one, King Cracker, on my YouTube channel. You can type !builds and you will find it. Yeah, you will find it. There is a catalyst. It's like probably like 9 months old or something like that. Catalyst Celestial build, very, very strong with Hammer. Really, really good. Yeah. Just like with core specs, they are just old, but unfortunately that's normal for MMOs. They add new content after core parts are most just updated graphically. Yeah, I think that's how it is. I think core specs are not bad, it's just the elite specs are better. That's the thing. Yeah, I agree. Why force people to do map when they don't care about it? If you want to go without mounts, just don't use them. I think that is a fair point, Black Magic, but I think the problem is that if you, in an MMO, if you don't force stuff on people, people will not do it. That seems like a really weird thing to say, but look at, for example, you can play dungeons still. And they are actually a really good gold per hour or something like that, if you know how to do it. Do people do them? No, because people are not forced to engage with them. The same goes for fractals, the same goes for raids. As soon as they add some new reward, my prediction is with the next update, we will get the core feature update, we will get a new raid boss, the new legendary ring will be bound to quick play, that is my prediction, and people will be forced to get into the quick play to get the new legendary ring, and people will play it. If they would just drop the quick play feature for raids and have no rewards attached to it, I think the amount of people that engage with it will be like a fraction. I think that is a key problem of MMOs. If you don't force people or don't like direct people in a certain direction, people will not get to engage with it. People really need some kind of carrot to chase, and that's the big problem. I agree with you, Black Magic. In an ideal world, you would have the option to use mounts or don't use it, whatever you want, but people typically don't really do that. That's what I gather as a content creator, I would say. I only rush to get the Skyscale and Soto since you fall behind too much in meta group events. Exactly, it's really frustrating nowadays how fast people move around without like... if you don't have the mounts, you get like lost at some point for sure. Yeah, exactly. This is a good one, King Cracker. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. There is also another one. There's also another one that is using a select that's made for soloing specifically. So if you are talking about only solo play, I can also link it to you in a second. But this is a very good one as well that you came up there. Let me get it. 1 second. I will look for it. So that's it. I send it on Twitch chat. That's the link. There is some mild increase of dungeon activity now because of the new legendary. That is true. That is probably a good thing that we have some increase of like people engaging with dungeons, especially like Honor of the Waves for the legendary Aqua Breeder. But I think that is only short-lived. I don't expect people sticking around to dungeons for all the time. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah. People also don't like anything forced. Maybe some kind of middle ground. Yeah, exactly. I think it's. I don't want to be a developer that is focused around like making rewards and stuff like that, because there is always a specific part of the community that doesn't like how you did it. It's just how it works. If you force something on people to get a reward, people are sad about that. If you don't put any rewards in, people will not play it. I don't know. I think for a developer, there is almost no way to make it so that people are always interested and always happy about what you're doing. I think it's really challenging. It really is. But yeah, I'm definitely with you. I don't like forced things either. I think if you like force to do stuff that you don't like to do, I typically don't engage with it, even if it's some crazy good rewards. You know, if there is a like 100 gold reward for a jumping puzzle, I will not go for it if I don't enjoy doing a jumping puzzle. So I'm a little bit like in a luxury state here. But of course, if you're a new player, sometimes you have to engage with stuff to get the legendary, to get the ascended gear. And I think that is not ideal. I agree. Yeah. If they make content for all, then content will feel slow. If you make active content, then some will be able to play that. There are two extremes that I hope Guild Wars 2 will be able to balance. I agree. I think it's hard to balance that for sure, for sure. How much of an effort is the new spear compared to other legendaries, currently considering over the Gen 1 spear? So the new spear, you mean the really new spear, the, how is it called, Pax or something? Wait, where is it here? Pax. How is it called? Aurum? How is it called? I always forget the name. How is the new one called? Bellum. Bellum? Is that there? No, it's not there. How is it called? I don't know. This one is very expensive. It's a very expensive spear. So if you like talk about the newest spear, the Staff Hybrid, then yes, it will be very expensive, like very, very expensive. So I would say it's better to go for the old ones if you are in a budget. If you, exactly, it's Anchor, exactly, it's the Anchor one. That one will be, that one is more expensive. Look at this, this is now like 6k, 5k gold. This is expensive. So if you're a new player, I think it's better to go for any other legendary spear first. It's just from the raw price value, because it is also like, if it's as pricey currently on the trading post, it will also be as pricey to craft for yourself, almost. Not completely, but almost. So if you're a new player, probably go for the other ones, but I think both of them are fine. If you like them, it's not crazy amount of playtime. It's just gold. Oh my god. You're forced to be a mech and play in a PvP jumping puzzle? That sounds like a very, very horrible activity. I would never engage with that. Like, never ever. I can tell you that. Yeah, you can buy the Anchor, and the Anchor, I would personally probably just buy it if you're a new player, if you have enough gold for that. But I personally think it's just be patient and wait like a couple of weeks and it will sink in price, I would expect. Probably not too much, but a little bit at least. If I'm not much interested in the new mount, Homestead, or new elite specs, would you still recommend? if you're not interested in the elite specs or the new maps, that already is for me like probably like a reason to not purchase it. I would say the elite specs alone are worth purchasing, but if you don't have any interest in the new elite specs, if you don't have any interest in the new map, then don't purchase it. I think there will be more stuff coming with Visions of Eternity, and you might like it then. You can still decide that later, but I would say it's definitely smarter to say I'm not interested right now, so I will put it on hold for now. I would say that's what I would do. Yeah. I do some recent open world single player games have been doing. Before you start your character, you can choose an explorable or normal mode. Explore mode would you can zone. I think that sounds really cool, but I think that would be a lot of development effort. Like maybe they just put a buff on you permanently that you cannot use mounts or something for the first time. Yeah, I guess that would be fair. But again, would people do that, or would people just do that if there is some kind of additional reward to it? Yeah, that you get double the rewards. Would people play it then? Or would people say, who cares about double rewards? Or, would rewards be the most like thing to engage people with that? I don't know. I feel like it would be very interesting concept. Again, it probably would have some development and effort, and I'm not sure if they would actually have enough time for that. But I think that's a very interesting concept. Very interesting. I recommend Chanteval's fun story and weapons. It's easy to make. Plus you make one legendary and get many skills for the price of one. Yeah, I think Chanteval's is probably like, if you overall probably is Chanteval's or Soto provide a little bit more, with the exception of elite specs. So if you like any of the new elite specs, you have to get Visions of Eternity. But if you don't like any of them, I think Chanteval's and Soto give you way more value, like right now at least. We will see how that turns out in the future, if the new stuff and the new map and the new legendaries and stuff that come will be way more interesting. But I would definitely say right now Soto and Chanteval's provide more if you don't like any of the elite specs. Yeah. Could you please include on-screen rotation for future videos? I mean, I have that actually. I mean, I'm not completely sure what kind of video you're talking about, but all my new videos have on-screen rotations, like every single one of them. It's just the older ones that don't have that. Like I started with video rotations and stuff like that probably like couple of maybe half a year ago or something, where no, even more, like probably 9 months ago I started with doing rotations on screen. So it should be there now. So new videos always have a rotation, always, at least for PvE builds. Competitive modes don't have rotations. I always want to mention that in competitive modes there are no rotations. If anybody tells you differently, they are bad at the game. In competitive modes there exist no rotations. Only rotations around the map, not around your build. You don't press your 2-3 into your 4 and weapon swap combo. That doesn't work in competitive modes. VU for me has been one of the best maps just because of those magic mirrors. I personally think, for me, Visions of Eternity, from if you compare to Chanteval's and if you compare to Soto, I personally like the expansion more because of the elite specs, because of the map design, because of the longevity of it. But this might age very poorly. We will see how the future updates are. Because I think the first release of Visions of Eternity is really good. But the same was true for Chanteval's, the same was true for Soto. So we will have to see how the future updates turn out. That is something that definitely needs to be like waited on. Only then we can make an adjustment and can say, okay, this is actually true. You will have to see. You will have to see if they actually manage it. It's the fast farming website. Shows on unidentified gear. Current prices in tweets higher than salvaging. Does that mean it's worth buying unidentified anymore? I personally would say it is always be a bit careful if a website just on paper shows you that, because oftentimes you have to understand that a lot of times you can still make profit, you can still sell stuff to get better time investment. You know, if you get unidentified gear, open it, and you make a profit with it, doesn't mean you have to actually do that yourself. You know, if you sell it, you might make more gold in the same amount of time where you would open it normally. Stuff like that is very important to understand, that Guild Wars 2 is not always about getting the most amount of value for the item that you have, it's getting the most amount of value for the time that you play the game. So I think be careful with what fast farming tells you. Sometimes the value there is a little bit harder to reach. Sometimes the value there is easy to reach. Just try to find the spot that is good for you. But typically, of course, the numbers there can be somewhat trusted. It's just often a little bit influenced in terms of like raw time that they spend there. There we go. Because they have very optimized, organized things, and that's not very reachable for most common players. That's what I meant there. Surely updates 3 and 4 will be good this time. So I think the first update that we will get in February with the quick play, with the core feature update, I think this one will already with the new raid boss will be good. I expect the last update to also be a banger. The last update will include new fractal and new convergence. It will be really good. I think the middle update is the problem for me. The middle update has a new map and that's it. There is no new instance content as far as I know. There is nothing new coming with the third update. That might be over the middle update, whatever you want to call it. So release, first update, second update. Yeah. So the middle update is the problem for me. We will have to see if that will be like taken care of, or if they have a big like reason or why it is like that. Maybe the new map is crazy big. Maybe there's a lot of content there. Either way, I think this might be the weakest update. Yeah. So yeah, I think good scream, Posco. Hope you had some nice time as well, and hopefully you have some nice weekend. So Spear Evoker, that's what I promised. That's what we are gonna play now. Spear Evoker is so good right now. It's really fun. Yeah, it wasn't a problem at all in the updates. I agree. Yes, if you like Elementalist fast-paced combat, Evoker is good for that. I'm not finished the core exploration. We have 7 legendary starter kits. Do I buy the expansion or wait till the expansion is complete and have discount? I would say if you have not like the urge to get all the new content and can wait a bit, I think it's better to wait a bit. You will get it for cheaper. You will get all the content in one go. I think personally I would say wait a bit. I really would say so. Of course, if you like the least specs, purchase it now. But I think if you are just in for the content, then waiting is completely fine. Yeah. Do you think Nvidia could improve their second content release for Visions of Eternity that they have failed to do with Jansia and Soto? I think they can. I think they have a lot of feedback from our community, and I hope that they improve on it. Because a lot of times we have feedback and they try to improve and don't do it correctly, but I think the third times is the charm, and I think that is probably true. I think they do a better job this time, because for example, in the first update with the core feature update, we don't get any new map, we don't get any new story. That means that they can focus the story on the second and third update, and that will be way more, hopefully, focused around the story and the map. And the second, so to say, thing that they have here is that they have raids completely separated, and for example like the new quick play feature and stuff like that, and people will be excited for that. And I think that is something that is helping them this time around. I would really think so. Yeah. Regarding rotation, Valen did a really good video a while back. He explains combat and that it's crucial to understand that your core combos should be perfected rather than rotation, since that's what you can focus on while playing mechanics or reacting to other players. Exactly. That's the important part. Whenever a player tells me, follow this rotation in competitive modes, I say they are bad. As soon as they say combos, they have understood the game. Because yes, there are really good combos on all classes. But as soon as you talk about rotations, that means that you actually follow something like very rigidly without understanding why you actually do it other than DPSing. That is not good. In competitive modes, it's a very reactive gameplay. You will see that here when I play this build. Of course, the rotation could be I putting down my etching and then using my spear skills to get the empowered etching. Of course, that's clear. That will be good. But reacting to combos, reacting to gameplay of other players is way more important than doing your own combo, because otherwise you will be dead. That's how it works in PvP. Yeah. Does Troubadour need a target for supporting the team? For some attacks, yes, but for most of them not. So Troubadour is very free in terms of targeting. Yes. Crazy Patricia. You can share it in the Discord, I guess. You can share it in the Discord, in our Discord. For Luminary, what gear stats do we need? It depends on what kind of build you want to do. For a healer, you would go Harrier or Minstrel or something. If you want to go DPS, you go for full Berserker. Something like that, yeah. Or even Dragon stats. Do you think the mirror rewards will be nerfed? I think they already nerfed it to some extent, yeah. I think they will nerf the mirrors to a point where you get like certainly like around 20 to 40 gold an hour. I expect they will do that, yeah. Have you tried Scepter Focus Evoker with hair? It's so much fun and does so much damage. Yeah, it's really good. Like in general, Evoker is really, really good. As a hair Evoker is really, really strong. I will now play Spear because I like Spear better than Scepter Focus. I think the gameplay is more fun. They have way more damage potential than Scepter, which is crazy because Scepter already has good damage potential. But I'm a Spear enjoyer. I want to play Spear. Yeah. Hopefully it won't be another silencer. I have to be honest, yeah. The last fractal made me hopeful. Yeah, the last fractal, the Kinfall fractal, I think the end boss is a very good end boss. It's not as good as like Sanqua Peak end boss or like Nightmare fractal or Shattered Observatory fractal, but I think the Kinfall fractal is definitely worth a fractal. I like to do it, even though the first part is a little bit like stretched. Yeah, I agree. But I personally think the Kinfall fractal was good. And if they make it even better than the Kinfall fractal, I'm perfectly happy, yeah. But I agree, if they do another Silent Surf, that will be horrible. I would not like that. And I think they learned from that. We have a lot of feedback regarding that. I really hope they learned. Is support Troubadour easy than Chronomancer to play? I would say so, yes, because it's the strength of Chronomancer is that it's very flexible, and it only works very, very well if you know what to bring in a specific fight. Troubadour is not as flexible, so Troubadour can bring a lot of things all the time, barrier, healing, distortion share, and stuff like that. So I think Troubadour is easier to play in a lot of cases than Chronomancer. I would say so, yeah. Do you think the Relic of the Pyro Queen has a lot of potential to make insane builds for like Tempest or Weaver or even Dragon Hunter? I think like Pirate Queen Relic is for all builds that don't have access to quickness naturally. It's a really good relic, like straight up. Specifically for PvE builds, for solo builds, but even for competitive modes builds, I think it might still be a very, very good like relic. Yeah, I agree. What would be your advice about bags and storage? What bags are optimal? How to sort your inventory? I mean, the thing is, like, if I look at this, I have this character is my bag storage character, yeah? I have like 70 characters and I use different characters for different things. I would make a guide about bags that like no one in the community would relate to. So I'm not sure if that's what you want to get. Like a guide where how I use my characters and why you should do that as well. That is probably not what you actually want. I think a bag guide, oh my god. It's so good. I really like this. Like, this is such a, like, this is such a good build. Like, no, they have so much damage. Oh, they got me. But yeah, this is good damage. Good damage. Very good damage. You can see if I would not be the target. Nice, we can rally here. If I would not be the target, we can actually get some really nasty damage output here. Nice, we got the kill here. And we should get this guy as well. Evoker is so good. It's absolutely broke. Don't get me wrong. This is way too much damage. They have to nerf the damage output, but it's really, really fun. For Ritualist, I would say any power-based weapon is working well. Like Spear is really good with it, but any power-based weapon for it's good. Yeah, you can put it in any channel. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you can put it in any channel. I will react to it after the stream, pretty sure. Excited to see what you got there. This is so insane. Look, why is the damage numbers like just seeing and instantly doing 6k to 2 people. This build is the most fun build in PvP right now because the damage numbers are like insane. Insane damage numbers, I would say. Like everything dies within seconds. What is a core build that can handle PvP? I would say the only really good core build right now is Core Necromancer. And even that one is not like insane. It's not like meta. But I would say Core Necromancer is probably the best. So you want to die? Yes, the thief. Oh, another challenge approaches. What the? Look at this. 2 people instantly dead. Instantly dead. This is so insane, this build. This is crazy. Insane. Absolutely insane. Core Ranger is okay as well. Yeah, there are core, don't get me wrong. Most core classes are okay. But as soon as you encounter an Evoker or something that is like a new spec or like a normal meta spec, you notice the difference. You definitely notice the difference and you will die. That's how it works. It can work, but it will not be like crazy broken. Just keep that in mind, yeah? There's the thief. Ooh, there are a lot of people now here. Oh, the invulnerability saved them. Welcome, Soren. Welcome, welcome. Core Guard is also alright as a support, that is true. Don't get me wrong, core specs are okay, they can work. But as soon as you counter the new specs and they counter the new or the old meta specs like Holosmith and Condi Reaper and stuff like that, you will notice that they will have a slightly higher power level. That's just how they do it. What? Just like one-shot him with 2 attacks? It's so good. The damage output is insane. Ooh. There were too many people here. How many people are here? But the damage output is good. Very good, very good, very fun build. Is there a way to move whole house to a different location in the homestead? I'm not a homestead like player. I don't know how too much, but you can save something and like create another templates that can work. But I'm not sure if you can move the whole house or if you have to deconstruct it and build it again. Not sure, not sure. What is the name of the program that you use for the green one? Exactly. Exclamation mark mouse and you will get it. It's called Blishot. And it's completely legal. You can use it. Yeah, I mean, Evoker, it's so good. You know, I just enjoy it so much. You know, this is so fun to play. You can, I have to be honest. Like, I have to have to showcase this. You know, I know. A lot of people always complain if I make builds and showcase builds that are really good and they like it right now that they will get nerfed. But come on, a build that is like crazy good. It's fun to play. You know, you should play it if it's fun. Yeah. I don't know. It's a good one. Yeah, it's crazy how strong that is. Like the hair, I want to train it a bit more before I go into ranked. But come on, like the hair itself does so much damage while also having like crazy AoE, CC, and damage potential. It's so good. Yeah. Just move the house, exactly. Yeah. I wanted to recreate it into my own Forge char engine. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe someone in the chat has a tip there. Yeah. Yeah, I have to be honest. Spear Elementalist is like a very cool class fantasy. I think that's one of the spears that has the coolest fantasy. And I think Evoker fits perfectly with it because you get a lot of damage multipliers in the traits. You get a lot of value from the raw damage output that you have, while also getting really defensive skills, like the elemental possession can be defensive, your hair agility can be really defensive. I don't know. I feel like it's a very, very good spec for Spear Elementalist specifically. Yeah. Exactly. Play it well you can. It will not survive the next balance patch. I would agree probably. Do you think ANET should start doing a public beta test before they push content out? The problem is, if they would give us a public beta test that we could, or that anyone could join, they would split the player base. So whenever there would be a new content coming up, players would engage with the beta server, and then some players would stay on the old server. And then you would have the population that is smaller than it was before. They want to have people playing on launch day and as much as possible. If you have beta servers, you would split the community in the beginning and before the event. And I think that is the main reason. And I think technically, I'm not sure if they would be able to pull it off. I don't know. For me, I think it's like, in an ideal world, they would have that, but I can understand the reasoning that they say, no, we don't want to do it with the current player base. I think that's, yeah, that's what I would say. Welcome, Stoic. Welcome, welcome. I want to be able to try out healer builds, but only have ascended armor. Is it completely normal to buy exclusive exotic armor sets? Yes, I would say that's completely normal. You start out with exotic gear if you play healer in raids and strike missions and stuffing, and start from there. I would not recommend going into fractals with only exotic because, of course, you need aggro resistance. But if you get enough aggro resistance, you can even try it in fractals and go from there. You don't have to be a full DP, like full ascended character. That is not necessary. That is not necessary. This guy is so dead. This guy is also dead. This is a surprisingly close match. Why is that match so close? I have to help my team. I thought we won the mid fight, but apparently they still lost it after a while. I have to play it a little bit careful here. No, maybe not. Maybe I just kill someone. To concentrate here a bit, otherwise I might die. I probably will still die anyway because I got hit by the Necromancer elite. Just painful, to say the least. But I got a kill in a 1v3, so I'm happy with that. I'm currently playing it with water as the second trade line, and the damage is about the same, but I get more HP and cleansing. I mean, that's fine. Everyone can play a different build. I think everyone should play the build that they enjoy, and then they can make work. I think you should go for the build that works in your hands. I personally like to go more aggressive here with Spear because I will anyway like die within seconds if I get targeted. But if I don't get targeted, it's really good. There are a lot of people here on the point. Interesting. Okay, I will free cast on you, my friends. That's what I will do. The E-mob is killing me. There we go. We got him. Nice. Aren't you supposed to have all the specs maxed out in PvP? My Revenant doesn't have that. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Yes, you should have perfectly fine stats. You should, if you will not be level 80, but your character will act as if they would be level 80. So if you go into PvP with a level 2 character, they will get the stats from a level 80 character. And if you have all the expansions, you get access to all the elite specs. If you don't have access to the expansions, then you will not get access to all of them. That is how it works right now. Oh. The Condi attack. At least we got to die fast. I have a problem with Spear Elementalist. The animations are bugged out, and whenever you have a high ground, the skill locks like it hit. It doesn't. Yeah. I think the targeting on Spear is the only thing that keeps it in check. If it would be easier to target stuff with it, it would be one of the worst like things to play against. I think they should fix it and decrease the damage numbers. Don't get me wrong here, but I think personally it's the only thing that keeps that a little bit in check. There's another guy here. Okay. Yeah, this is like not a very. This is a very new player. I will put it like that. And technically, you can skip the invisible puzzle in Deepstone. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of skips that are not like, what is this rapid? Gale shot on me. Okay. That's painful. No, we cannot. Ooh, this guy is on the revenge. He wants to kill me. There we go, we got him. But my team lost the whole map for that. Still a fun build. Praise for it. Is there simplest way to get hold of legendary armor pieces? Not asking for easy, but simplest. Okay, let's think about what is the simplest way of getting legendary armor pieces. I mean, probably playing World vs. World. I'm not joking. World vs. World is probably the simplest way. It's not the easiest. I mean, I don't know. It depends what you mean with that. For me, just like the laziest way is playing World vs. World for weeks. And then you get the legendary armor from that. Yeah. If you want to play if you want to get it the fastest, it looks a little bit different. Oh my god, there's so many people here. Can I get the kill here at least? I have to concentrate and then I will answer the question. I guess I have to go for the rest here at some point, but I'm not sure if I can actually make that. Yeah, that's the problem. I cannot damage and rest them. Yeah, shot feels like kind of an easier Spear Evoker right now regarding damage numbers. I don't know. I feel like the Gale Shot is really easy to deal damage to a single target, but if you have multiple targets, I think like the Spear Evoker gets very, very good. I don't know. Free casting? Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I feel like it's both of them are fine. I just like Gale Shot in PvE a lot, and Spear Evoker I don't like at all in PvE. But as soon as I like play PvP, I really enjoy playing Spear Evoker, and Gale Shot I don't like that much anymore. I don't know why. I actually don't know why. That was a little bit funny, to be honest. So they will be coming up here now because they got the bottom buff. So we can try to win here with the top buff. Oh, that was a little bit sad. Didn't crit. It didn't crit. But now they are dead anyway. Yeah, that was a one-sided match. Very one-sided. If you get all the top stats, that is a little bit one-sided. But a good showcase anyway. Anyway, good showcase. Yeah. If Spear Elementalist was like Shot Holo, hitting through voice, oh yes. I mean, you hit with this one, you can hit through voice. So it's quite good. It has some really, really good things going for it. But it's definitely... Holosmith is always a good pick right now as well, yeah. Do you think Gale Shot will catch a nerf in PvP? I think maybe small damage nerf, yeah. I think in general all of the new specs seem to have very good damage output, like Luminary, Evoker, Gale Shot, Ritualist. They have very high damage numbers, and they nerfed the damage output of Ritualist and Luminary already, and I expect to get some nerfs to the damage output of Gale Shot, maybe a bit, because I don't know. The thing is, they already did a hot fix, so why did they not increase? I don't know. Why did they not include it? You know, I personally would say if you do a hot fix, you would include anything that is very easy to do, like decreasing damage of Gale Shot and Evoker. They didn't, so I guess they are fine with it for now. We will have to see. Yeah. Exactly, hydrating, good point. Yeah, so let's do one more match and then I will think about a solo build for Evoker that is not specializing, because I really want to make a build that is not specializing for Evoker in PvE and still be able to get all the good stuff going. That's the idea. Did you find any Gale Shot Evoker build for World vs. World roaming? So I think you can play this build that I'm playing here in PvP right now. I think you can play this build for roaming as well. It's a very high skill build, but you can play the exact same build, in my opinion. Why is that? Because you have 3 stun breaks, plus like very good utility and really good range. I think this works in roaming. For a Gale Shot build, I think I would play something very similar. High damage potential with defensive utility skills. I would say that's probably what I would go for. For roaming, that works. It's not the best build in terms of like raw outnumbered situations. So if I'm playing against 3 people with this build, and I cannot kill them very fast, I will die, because my sustain is almost non-existent. So I would personally say that Gale Shot and Evoker in a competitive scenario are played as a full DPS, and that means that in a roaming scenario, they will be more of the classic bursty roamers, where you want to get montage plays, where you want to outplay the opponents very fast and the fight is over before they can look at it. Yeah, that is what I would expect that those will be really good at. I don't see them being like in a 1v5 or something for like 10 minutes and winning it after that. I think that is more like a Catalyst, more an Untamed type of gameplay. And I think that's okay. Not every spec has to fill everything the same situation and roll perfectly similar. So I think that's where I would see them, yeah. Welcome Snowbleach, welcome. I wish Untamed does more damage while keeping my survival. I think Untamed is already really good. Like in all game modes, Untamed has really good survival, but I agree that if you focus a lot on survival, you lose damage. That is a trade-off that is there, but I think that's fair. I think that means it's balanced. I think the new specs have an issue that they don't have that balance to some extent sometimes. They have a lot of damage and a lot of sustain, looking at Luminary, for example. But I think they will fix that. I think the balance is quite important for them. So we will have to see. Yeah. But yeah, in general, I would say roaming builds, I did not try too much yet because I was like focused so much on getting the PvE stuff and trying out some cool builds with that. And also the thing is, there will be some nerfs at some point, you know. So making a build around something, especially in competitive modes, for example, I released my first build guide after the expansions for PvP was a Ritualist build guide, yeah, because it was really good. I thought this is a really good build, I will make a build guide about it. I release it and I'm not joking. I'm not joking. A couple of hours later, the build gets nerfed. Either I'm just very unlucky or I chose just subconsciously the build that I suspected will get nerfed, whatever. This is just how it is. Yeah. So I make a build guide about something, and especially if it's like something that I expect to be really good right now, then they will nerf it. That's why I started, for example, with the healer builds. A lot of them focused on my YouTube channel right now with healer builds, not the DPS builds, because I think the DPS builds, a lot of them will get nerfed down in damage output. That was the biggest reason there. Are we gonna see an anti-carry build soon? Yes, I'm working on anti-carry right now as well, yeah. I mean, compared to other classes, Untamed DPS is really low. I wouldn't say it's really low. I think Untamed can reach 40k DPS or even higher than that. It's just like not always. Not always the best pick, that is true. I think Untamed could get some buffs, to be honest. Oh, that was a lot of damage. Who is doing so much damage to me? Oh, I really hate this. I mean, we got them. I mean, everyone is dead. There are like, how many people are there? Like 3 people dead? I take that. I take that. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think Rich List is still a very, very good build, especially the build that I released is still completely fine and really good. I think it was just very overtuned. And I think a lot of them, like Luminary, was also very, very overtuned. So it makes sense to nerf them for sure. Okay, they are coming back. Let's do another one. Firing everything and missing everything as well. That's how I play. That's how I play my Spear Elementalist typically. Oh, that was last second fear. Oh, they got the rally. We got another kill though. Okay. I really like this elite. This is one of the best elites in, I don't know, in a long time. Maybe even the best elite for Elementalist. It's so good. It has so much impact. It feels so fun to use. This guy got demolished. They couldn't even vapor form. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the new elite skill is really carrying this build as well. It's really, really good. Because you really underestimate. If I get pressure... Oh my god. What was that? The new elite skill is like, you put it down, it heals you. It CCs the enemy. It does damage. I mean, everything all at once. Like, everything all at once. Nice, they get the rest. Very good. Nice, we got a kill. They got the rally. That's not good. Get the interrupt again. Very good. Another kill. This guy is also dead, and now we have to help my ally here. Oh, you see the Ritualist damage is still there. It's still there. I mean, we got them in the end, but this is scary. Very scary. Welcome, Barnish. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, Untamed buffs, I think it's crazy to say, but I think Untamed got a little bit power crept. I think it's still very good as a solo build. But in PvE, in group play, I think you are right. I think they could get at least a little bit of help. I think you're right there. Oh. The minions. If the minions, like, look at this, it's just the minions. Everything else doesn't matter. The minions. Where's my team actually? No one is here. That's sad. I mean, the match is over, I guess, but still. Very sad. They have to nerf the DPS output on the new specs. I placed first and second in Ice Blue Saga 5 yesterday with Power Alacrity Amalgam. It was crazy. Yeah, it's insane. Like the they definitely, it's quite common that in the beginning of an expansion, the new specs are really over tuned and people really like to experiment with really high numbers. And after like let's say 2 weeks to a month or something, they nerf it down so that there is no crazy power creep going on anymore. But I think there will still be some decent power creep. I would expect that. Yeah, I think the elite is really good. If you land the elite skill, it's so rewarding. I agree. We won. Very good. Yeah, I guess at some point it was a little bit like bullying. I'm sorry. I will do a Ritualist World versus World build as well. Don't worry. Every single elite spec will get a build for every single game mode. I will just have to get there at some point, you know? Don't like expect it or everything in the first week. But I will get there. If I'm being able to get a build with Untamed that can do about 25k solo DPS and maybe 30 to 35k in a group while keeping some survival, I'm all ears. But so far Untamed that I've tried is not able to do it. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is in that regard. Either you make a solo build that reaches 20 to 25k DPS and is very sustaining, or you make a DPS build and reach 40k DPS, but you have almost no sustain. That's just how they designed it, and I think that's okay. But finding a middle ground, making a build that is somewhere in between is really challenging. It really is. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they can pull it off or if I can pull it off. Yeah. Isn't Untamed in PvE super strong DPS? Yes, it's really good. It reaches over 40k DPS, yeah, 45k depending on how long the fight is. It doesn't have like as good as a burst, as Scale Shot, or as like Soul Beast, but it doesn't have any sustain. Yeah, I think that's what people always want. They want to have a sustainy build with decent damage output, and I think Untamed is either full DPS or sustainy but doesn't have crazy good damage. So yeah, I will try, but I cannot promise anything. So I wanted to try. I wanted to try an Evoker build that is focused on not the specialized elements trait, not this one, yeah. And I want to specialize in the Earth one. Why do I want that? We will get to that. I have a really cool idea there. A really good one. We will see that. Yeah. I'm a returning player and haven't played since Ice Blue Saga. I'm super excited to get back into the game and have been watching your videos quite a bit on the side. Thank you for teaching us noobs to become better. No problem. Always happy to help. And don't worry, you know, if you have questions, just ask. Yeah. I'm still new in the game and I love it. What expansion should I buy first? I want Mesmer Elite specs and that's Skyscale. Then you have to go for Soto. I would say Soto is the expansion that gives you Skyscale access, and if you want to have a really good Mesmer Elite spec, I think any of Heart of Thorns, End of Dragons, Path of Fire, or Visions of Eternity have really good Elite specs. I would say probably Heart of Thorns or Visions of Eternity first, probably, but choose the one that you like, the look of the most of the Elite specs, and if you need the Skyscale, you will probably want to have Soto, but it's the fastest way to get it. That's my recommendation. Yeah. I wish I could have a build for open world and fractals and raids. I always forget to change. The thing is, it's really hard. Guild Wars 2 is designed. You look at the stats. You know, if you look at the stats from gear, you know, how many stats are in there in the game? There are so many stats in the game. You are asking for a build that can be played in almost every piece of content with the same gear. Wouldn't that be a little bit sad if that existed? Or would be like the meta? Because what is with all the gear stats, all the runes, all the sigils and everything, that would be really sad. So I think it's okay to say you want that, and I think I have builds on my YouTube channel that actually can perform that. I have a specific series about that. But you always take into like account that you will actually decrease the value of the build in a specific scenario because you are more generally good. So you are not as good as the best build in this specific scenario. I think that is the way to do it. And I think I expected actually that this will be like somewhat always the case. Yeah. Yesterday in World vs. World, I fought full glass Berserker Gear Paragon that just killed my Conde Reaper. I wasn't able to make him even half HP because he's healing and healing as much. Yeah, Paragon is really good in World vs. World right now, even as a roamer. Yeah, it's really good. We will get to this build as well at some point. Yeah. Yes, exactly. You can do that, Sephi. You can do that as well. Like, you will get a lot of value from that if you do it like that, for sure. Yeah. And of course, if you want to support me, you can use my referral link, !bar in the Twitch chat, exactly like the Stream Elements bot already mentioned here. Yeah, so if you want to support me for no additional cost, you can use my referral link and purchase any expansion with that. Of course, I would be really thankful for that, but just wanted to mention it here. So, the idea was I want to go here for a solo evoker build that relies on Relic of the Pirate Queen, who would have thought, to provide myself with quickness. And now the cool part comes in. If I'm specialized in the evoker pet, that is the earth one, I will give myself alacrity on top of that. So this skill here will give me quickness and protection and... No, will give me quickness? Yeah, it will give me quickness, protection and alacrity with one skill. This will be insane. Yeah, this is insanely good. So let's try that out, how it feels, just like seeing it for a bit. How the attack works. Yes, look at this. We get all the nice wounds. Everything all at once. So now the question is, do we want to play this as a Condi build or a power build? Because both, I think, could work. I think both could work. The thing is, if I play it as a power build, I will probably have way less sustain. If I would play it as a Condi build, I think my sustain will be higher, but my burst damage will be way lower. So I guess both could work. Yeah. I have a question. I main Warrior and currently playing Spellbreaker, Dagger, X, Hammer, mostly playing solo open world, going through all the content in order. Do you have a good solo Paragon build? That was my question. I will try to come up with a good solo Paragon build. I think Paragon is one of the classes that is a little bit harder to make a solo build that is really good. I currently reached like 15k DPS with a solo build, which is not... my typical benchmark that I want to reach as a solo build is 20k. If I get over 20k, my solo build is like approved. If I don't get that and my sustain is decent, then maybe, but if the sustain is bad and the damage is bad, it's not a good solo build. And Paragon right now seems like a build that has good sustain but almost no damage, so I will have to figure it out a bit more. I will make a video about it as soon as I figured it out, yeah. Thanks, always appreciate the support, yeah. Yeah, you could play Lightning Rod on the Todd, but the thing is, in PvE, Lightning Rod is so bad. It's so bad. If you play a solo build, this is just horrible. It does nothing for you. So it's so sad. In competitive mode, that trait is really good, especially with the Todd. But as soon as you're on PvE, this is a like I would never go in air, like only for Lightning Rod at least. Yeah. Welcome, Adela. Welcome. I just crafted my first legendary weapon. Spear, consider selling it because I wanted to start Legendary Armor Journey. Is it a good investment? I would say so, yeah. It's a really good investment. How much is the spear right now? Like 2.5k or something? Or even higher, yeah. Yeah, good value, for sure. Thanks, Lantern. Really appreciate it, Prime. Thanks a lot for your support. I would say if you don't really need the spear right now, I would say it's definitely a good way to get some money influx and then invest it into the Legendary Armor. I would definitely say that's the smart way to do it, yeah. What would you say is the most fun solo build so far? Well, it's really tough to say. Like, I would say from the new specs, I had the most fun with coming up with a solo build. Probably right now with Amalgam, I would say. No, Conduit actually. I actually have a really good Conduit build coming up. Like, I had the most fun with that one. I did not expect it to work, but it works really well. Like, really well. 30k solo DPS, really tanky. Oh yes, coming up very soon as well, yeah. With the old builds, if I would like consider old builds or old elite specs that were improved with the new relics, I have really good builds coming up, like Scourge, like Reaper, like even to some extent like Tempest, and even I think like some Mesmer builds could shine a lot with the new relics as well. There are so many cool builds. I just focus right now on the new elite specs because I think it's more exciting to talk about new stuff that is completely new. than talking about an already existing elite specs and just adding like a new relic or new like a little bit of a different twist on the build. I think it's better to go for all the new specs. It's Dagger Todd Evoker seems like really strong. Like it's really good. I will maybe try it later as well. Like in roaming, yeah, Todd Evoker is really nasty. Like really nasty. Yeah, in Conduit surprised me. The solo build is really good with it. Yeah. Yes, you have quickness. That's the important part. Otherwise, I wouldn't play it. Yeah. I personally really enjoyed the new expansion. I enjoyed the maps. I think they look awesome. And I think the new elite specs are really fun to theory craft around. And I think also the longevity of the new expansion is way better than in others because we get like 5 new legendaries, 5 or 6, depending who you asked, which is very nice longevity. So I would say so, yeah. But of course, not everybody would agree. Not everybody would agree. Okay, so do we want to do a power or condi build? I think a power elementalist is always a little bit like a little bit weak. I mean, we could do like the normal one, like just the classic one here, and play it like that. And some might, I guess. Could play it like that. Would be probably the way to do it. Then we need Frailty Sigil. Bursting, no. Frailty, no good. And do we need Earth? Probably more like Strength. Strength Sigil. And going full Celestial, and then we have then we are talking. You know, that's already like a really good build, I guess. Probably boring. It's always Celestial, but I mean, Celestial is just the best in slot stat if you want to play a solo build. I think this will be really good. This will be really good, I would expect. Especially if you get the nice food. Where is it? The fiery food. How is it called? There we go. Fiery or fishy rice balls. That's insane. That's really good. Gives me 15% burning duration increase. Really good. And now we can test it on the golem. But I expect this to be like really good. So let's try it out. I mean, the damage is not that high, to be honest. The damage is not that high. It's really like the fire attunement is like carrying your damage, and you will not be that often in you use not that many attacks. Your Todd will not give you that much. I don't know. I mean, it will slowly ramp up. That's the good part. It will slowly ramp up, but it takes a while. It takes a while. I guess you will reach in the end over 20k DPS, but you will need to wait a bit for that, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I think it's okay in damage output, and it's very tanky. Like I'm not even like breaking a sweat. Not a single attack gets through my barrier. It's really easy to upkeep all that stuff. But it's sadly, the truth is it's lower DPS than the specialized elements one. That's the sad truth. If I would play my specialized element evoker, that has more damage. Interesting. I struggle with keybinds since there are so many things I want to click, especially the F keys. So my tip is, first of all, you could get an MMO mouse. Link is in the description of the stream as well if you want to know my MMO mouse. That is a very easy solution that helps, having buttons on your mouse. Additional ones that can help you getting like the F keys. Or what you can always do, like a classic MMO player, using alteration keys like Control, like shift, stuff like that. Or if you don't want to use that, I think Guild Wars 2 has not that many keys that you have to have bound. So you have the Q button, the W button, and the E button. Those, I think, are the most important ones to move for me. And then you would have, for example, R and T and X and C and like Y and stuff like that free to use for other attacks. So that can help you if you want to bind them. But I agree that it helps to have some more buttons with, for example, the mouse or the alteration keys. Yeah. I personally like to use an MMOs. I use it all the time, and I would probably not be able to play the game that well, at least without it. Yeah. It's a really good, fun solo build that doesn't require weapon swap, but still being good in PvE. Yes, you can play, for example, my single element evoker. It doesn't weapon swap because it cannot weapon swap, and it will be surprisingly good. Yeah, really good. And now I have small hands and a yoga with my fingers to reach F1. Yeah, I mean, of course, it always depends a bit on what kind of keyboard you're using. But I think like F1 to F4 typically is okay to reach. But as soon as you have to reach like your F5 button to like 6 to 0 buttons with the left hand, for example, that is almost impossible for most people. So, or at least in a normal time frame. So I think it's better to have like alteration keys or an MMO mouse for that. I think as soon as you want to play on a high level and have like additional keybinds, like for example, look behind, like I'm doing right now, or like switching like about face, like I just did, you know, like I'm turning 180 my character without losing track of where I'm looking. If you want to have that, this is everything on keybinds. I don't have that like using, I don't do it like that or like doing it like that. That will be way more slow than just pressing one button. Yeah, stuff like that. So there, if you want to play on a very high level, I think getting more keybinds is always a helping you there. But if you are on a budget and just started out the game, I think slowly adding more keybinds is completely fine as well. Yeah. I rebound my A and D to strafe and use the Q and E for dodge and weapon. Yeah, everyone has a completely different approach what works for them, so choose what you feel is the best. For me personally, I have W bound to like forward movement, and I have Q and E bound to moving sidewards. I don't have strafe at all, or like, I'm sorry, I have strafe, but I don't have the turning. Like, there is an option for turning your character like this. I don't have that because I never do that. Why would I use that? I just use Q and E for wiggling like that. Yeah. I've taught myself to dodge using left shift, and when I change it to alteration keys, I struggle with dodging. I should probably get used to using a different key. I think for me personally, the default keybind for dodging is like V, and I think that's a very good one. I think that is a very, very good one because it's very close to spacebar, which you often need to jump over shockwaves or jump over like terrain. That's it. Snow Bleach, I remembered. But yeah, this is what I would say is probably a very good spot for the dodge key. But everyone has a different way of finding it easy to use. Yeah. How is Ritualist doing after recent nerf compared to other Necro specs? It's still very, very good. Like very, very good. If you don't have a crazy mouse, you can bind stuff to mouse wheel up and down. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And shift, of course. Very good points. Yeah, F3, F4 can be a stretch. I see that, Patricia. I see that. Yeah. Do I have a video for Amalgam coming out soon? Yes. I already have an Amalgam solo build, but I will be focusing on more other builds as well. Don't worry. One thing after the other. We will get to it. Yeah. Everyone has completely different like keybinds. I think some people have crazy keybinds where I would say I would never be able to play with that. Not at all. But some people have like the exact same keybinds. I think most of the tryhard people that I know do not use the default keybinds. I think the Guild Wars 2 default keybinds, I wouldn't say they are shit, but they are somewhat bad. So for example, most people rebind 6 to 0 to new buttons. Like almost nobody uses the 6 to 0 buttons. So I would say everyone has a different loadout for how they use it. But I think most people rebind the default ones. And the cool part is you can also change it from like store it and can change, for example, if you're playing an Untamed, which has a lot of F skills, and change your loadout if you're going to a Spellbreaker or something that doesn't have that many F skills, you can change the loadout again and just making it with 2 buttons. I think it would be even better if we would have character-specific loadouts so that you can say, okay, now I'm on my Elementalist, and as soon as I swap to my Ranger, I will get different attacks or different keybinds. That's not in the game, but we can at least change it with those settings here, which is good enough for me, at least. You think Quickness Evoker will get nuked out of World vs. World just like Katana's Quickness? Maybe. For now, I think Quickness seems way more likable in World vs. World than Alacrity. I think Alacrity is the build that people don't want to see. Like Alacrity is, that's as soon as Alacrity is in like somewhere close to being playable, they nerf it. But I would say I think Quickness is fine. I think Quickness seems to be okay. I think so. I done our Soto Mastery in story, yet I don't know have the mount unlocked. It seems it's time gated. Yes, it's a little bit time gated for Soto as well, but it's not as time guided as it is for Path of Fire unlock in Living World Season 4. Living World Season 4 is way more annoying to get. So for most players, it's better to get it from Soto. You just have to either invest some gold, then you can get it after 3 or 5 days or something. And if you don't get any gold investment, then you will probably need a week, maybe 2 weeks, something like that. But it's also time gated. It's how it works. Yeah, that's how they did it. I'm surprised so many people need a Naga to play Guild Wars 2. I think in Guild Wars 2 it's way easier to come out without an MMO mouse. I think an MMO mouse in Guild Wars 2 is way less important than in other MMOs. Like look at Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft, where you have like insane amounts of buttons that you always have on your hotbar. In Guild Wars 2 you don't have that. So I would say for 90% of the players you don't need an MMO mouse. If you are like a tryhard player that has like 10 different extra buttons like special action key, looking behind, about face, like locking to target or something like that, all of that bound, then yes, at some point you need probably more buttons than your keyboard can provide. But I would say most players actually don't need that. At least in my opinion. Yeah, reaching 0 is probably for no normal human being possible with like the left hand. I think that seems very, very unrealistic. So I want to get the Todd Evoker build crafting going on now. Just want to get the camp here, and then I will try to get the really annoying Todd Evoker build crafting here. They should enable Warclaw for people that have Chanter Wilds since they introduced it there. And in my opinion, it's stupid that people have Chanter and don't have Path of Fire, don't have Warclaw in World vs. World. Is that really the case? I thought you could go into World vs. World and get the Warclaw like instantly. Like you just have to get the first thing here and you can use the World vs. World Warclaw always. I thought that's how it works. I have to be honest, I never have like thought about too much about which expansion I need to get the Warclaw or something like that, because I never engaged with that content that often. But I think it should work. Okay, so we want to do a Todd Evoker. That's what we want to do. A lot of keys you need are very situational, only used outside of combat. So using control or shift works well. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So for legendary crafting, PvP track is a must. If you want to get a legendary, you don't need a PvP reward tag. But World vs. World you need. So in World vs. World, there is this Gift of Battle for a legendary weapon. You need the Gift of Battle. That's a must. Or a lot of legendaries need Gift of Battle. So that's something that you have to engage with. At least at the current Guild Wars 2, there is no way to get Gift of Battle any other way. PvP is not required, but Gift of Battle, so World vs. World, is required, yes. I had no issues with World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy on keyboard, just needed to be smart about keybinds. I agree. I think it's like, the issue is more like that you have to get used to it. You cannot expect to know every single button in the beginning, yeah? You have to slowly get used to it, I would say. So we need this one, and probably like... So what do we want? Like we're playing a power evoker. Do we play power? That's the question. We want to play some really nasty CC spamming. Yeah, we want to play power because of lightning rod. Yeah. Okay. We want to play power evoker. Yes. And then it's like arcane is probably a must as well. Yeah, that seems like a decent one. That's a good trade. It's also a good trade. Let's go for the stability one. There are so many good trades, to be honest. Evoker is interesting trades, very good trades as well. Let's leave it like that for now. Okay. What do we want? Probably some kind of Marauder setup with like a Traveler rune or something. Get some movement speed passively. Maybe some commander pieces in there for some more boon duration. I guess. Yeah, that seems like decent, yeah. Any idea when your new video is online on YouTube today? So I think it's in like 1.5 hours. Pretty sure. Yeah. Gift of Battle made me get into World vs. World, and now half my gameplay time is World vs. World. I think that's really good. I think that's amazing. I know some people hate World vs. World, but I think getting some people into World vs. World, it's really fun. If they make it work like that, I think that's really good. So I think like Dagger could be good with this, or Dagger Focus. Like, I guess we go Dagger Focus because of the defense, but you could play everything, to be honest. You could play everything, yeah. Like, even Sword to some extent, I guess. It's crazy how much flexibility you have with the weapons on Elementalist. So, what thing do we want here? How much is the Pirate Queen? How much? I think it's way lower here. How much is it? It's only 2.25 seconds. That is not long. That is not a lot. I'm not sure if that's good enough, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's good enough to take. Or if we want to have some others like Relic here. Because you could go Sakiros Relic and be like really good, because you have like very good Fury uptime. And that means that you can get a lot of healing output from that. I don't know, we will try it like that, I guess. I do miss the health bar healing style from World of Warcraft and Guild Wars 2. Yeah, I agree. I think Guild Wars 2, if the UI would be better, I think a lot of new players wouldn't be like leaving the game again, because the UI in Guild Wars 2 is not perfect. Let's leave it at that, yeah. Lightning plus Arcane Wave. Yeah, you could do that. Arcane Lightning is really good. Then you wouldn't have the dodge. It's not as good in like on Evoker. It's true. And then like you could go Arcane Brilliance as well if you wanted to, because it's surprisingly good. Arcane Shield. I mean, your mobility is not that good if you like drop all of that stuff. Arcane Wave could be, Arcane. Well, that is a nasty setup, to be honest. I like that setup. Oh, there's a Ranger. Let's go for the Ranger. Healing feels more passive in Guild Wars. I think healing, the problem is Guild Wars 2 feels like the healing in Guild Wars 2 feels, because of its AoE theme, you can get stuff very, very easily. Oh, this is nasty. You can get a lot of healing in Guild Wars 2 just around your target, or like you don't even have to have a target. Stuff like that can be quite annoying to deal with as a WoW player, because you just have to stack on top of each other, you know? It's not like you don't have to, like, oh my god, there's my ally. I want to heal them. Now I have to target them. No, it doesn't matter. I just stand next to them and heal them. So the skill level that you get from World vs. World and PvE as a healer is very low. You always stack on top of each other. In PvP, it's a little bit different, but in competitive modes, in World vs. World competitive gameplay and in PvE as a like normal gameplay in like raids and strikes and fractals and stuff, it's just stacking. And I definitely see that issue. Definitely it's not Bleach, definitely. Do you have any advice on first legendary craft that would benefit most of the classes? I mean, Spear is really good. I would say Sword is really good because those weapons can be used by all classes. I think it depends a bit on what kind of class playstyle you want, because some, for example, Staff is also quite common, but Staff is typically more of a support weapon. Quite often, not always, but quite often. So if you don't like that, then don't go to Staff. In general, going for armor first is, in my opinion, always a better choice than going for anything else. I think armor is really, really good for that regard. In that regard, legendary armor. But choose what you like. I have a full video, like 20 minutes or even longer, where I rate all the legendary items in the game, what is the best one, and to get as a new player, that is. So just watch that if you want to do that. Yeah. Exclamation mark builds in the chat. You will get a link to all my playlists as well. Yeah, I don't have that much experience with like other healers. I played like White Mage in Final Fantasy. That was the healer that I played. And it worked surprisingly well and I like it a lot. But it's not the... I think Guild Wars 2 healing is for me, because of the flexibility, I liked it a bit more. Yeah. It's actually quite annoying. Like, I don't want to fight myself with this build, to be honest. Yeah, do I have good Condi cleanse? I think I don't have any good Condi cleanse. That's an issue. We have to solve that. We have to solve that. A little bit of Condi cleanse. This is my Condi cleanse. That's it. I'm not sure if that's good enough. Either way, it's a nice build. Yeah, it's not only as a healer, it's more of support, that is true. Guild Wars 2 support is like you are, like the trinity of a support is healing, wounds, and tanking. I'm not joking, in Guild Wars 2 that's what a healer is. A healer is a healer that provides boons, so crazy DPS buffs and defensive buffs to its allies, while also providing the tanking role in the same person. It's really, really crazy. Guild Wars 2 is very focused around having a damage dealer and having some kind of defensive supporter that does almost everything else. That's how Guild Wars 2 is designed right now. It's just crazy, yeah. I'm new to the game. How do I get into the mouse pointer to look like that? Exclamation mark mouse in the Twitch chat. Then you see it. It's a legal third-party add-on. It's called Blishut, and it makes my mouse cursor way more visible. That's the thing. I have a guide about how to set it up. It's completely legal, and it's, in my opinion, very important for especially new players, but I like to use it as well. Otherwise, I just lose track of my mouse all the time, which is really annoying. Yeah, I actually like Astromancer as well, but I obviously, when you play Final Fantasy for the first time, you don't have the choice of Astromancer, or how it's called, Astrologian, that's how it's called. I did not choose that because I didn't have access to it. I started as a White Mage, and that's the one that I started playing a bit. But yes, I think Astrologian seems like the spec that I would, if I would go to Final Fantasy, I would probably main Astrologian right now, yeah. Is playing Guild Wars 2? Yes, I do, and I give some advice. What's the best spec for Thief? I think Thief is like, I would play Spectre if you want to play flexible, and if you want to be the Assassin's Thiefies player, I would play any Thief that is like Daredevil, Deadeye, Power-based, Connie-based. They are all like squishy and focused around dealing damage as fast as possible in all game modes. So if you like that kind of playstyle, then Thief is correct, and you will have a lot of different builds for that. But if you are looking for a build that is like very flexible, can support and stuff like that, then probably it's better to go for Spectre, I would say. The thing I love about this game in terms of grouping is that you don't have to sit and wait for a tank healer, so you have much flexibility. Yeah, that is true. Guild Wars 2 is quite flexible in that regard, for sure. Everyone brings something to the table in this game, which is I like a lot. I think it's not to the highest extent, though. A lot of times, this if you would like rate how much percentage of the support comes from the defensive support, it would be like 90%. And I think that's a little bit sad that there is like not as much like agency on like other builds to have different kind of. Can we, how much damage do we do? How much damage do we take? I have to concentrate here on this 101 for a bit. But, oh my god, I hate this spec. This is not reflectable, this attack. This is so annoying. Ritualist. Broken. Just broken. So sorry. Yeah, Cleansing Fire could be good. Cleansing Fire is surprisingly good nowadays. Yeah. Yeah, the damage is... That's the problem of like... That's why I don't like to play Tot. Because it's very tanky. And it is very annoying with the CC output. But the raw damage numbers are surprisingly low. Like, they are really low. So if you have someone that has some sustain in the kit, this is like very, very low damage. If I would play my Signet Catalyst, or if I would play even like the Spear Evoker, this guy would have been like either I die in 5 seconds or they die in 5 seconds. That's how those builds are playing. But this is sadly somewhat tanky and fun to play, but it's not crazy damage output, yeah. I'm looking to start this game playing Revenant. I love the animation of X-Maze and Spear. Do you recommend it for leveling? Oh yes, you can easily level it. Just play with those weapons that you like and enjoy it. And leveling is very easy in Guild Wars 2. You will have very easy time. And as soon as you get to level 80, you can go for this specific one, Condi Conduit, for example. Any Condi build on Revenant uses those weapons. So you will have a very good time there. Yeah. Glad you like my content. Glad you like my content. More to come, of course, yeah. I mean, I heard that Final Fantasy is not doing so hot right now, but I think for now I'm also anyway just sticking to Guild Wars 2 because right now Guild Wars 2 is very fun to play for me. But I know a lot of people said, yeah, Final Fantasy is not the best right now. Yeah, at least not the most active. So I guess that's how it goes. Not everything can be all the time. Yeah, Ritualist is really, really good. Like, really good Ritualist. It doesn't really matter what kind of thing you play on Ritualist. It's always a good, like, good damage, good sustain. It's a teleport on the 5 skill in the Shroud. It's just so good. It really is. I used to be proactive in healing, knowing the fights and using skills, reacting to what I knew was going on. I still have try to do that in Guild Wars 2. I mean, I think that's the best part about being a healer, is that you actually understand what you need to do and do something before you actually are required to do it. So you heal your allies or give them a barrier before the attack is happening. You don't want to be the guy or the healer that actually provides the healing after the attack happened, or the barrier after the attack happened, and like no one will be happy about that. So I think it's as a healer, you have to be proactive. Some healers can do that better than others. Scourge is really good because it provides barrier, but even on Chronomancer, Troubadour, you have so much barrier access or like healing or protection or whatever Aegis access that you don't need to do it in a way that you cannot be proactive anymore. At least in my opinion, yeah. Elementalist or Engineer for build variety? I would say Elementalist has more build variety, but close, quite close, I would say. Quite close. Isn't Ritualist has Life Force generation reduced? It's more manageable? It's more manageable, but it's really... Look at, like, for example, the thing is, if I go to my Ritualist, give me a second. There. Ritualist has 50% damage reduction in Shroud, just baseline. You see there? Reduced damage taken, 50%. This by itself is insane. It's absolutely insane. If you play this build, even after the nerfs, like if you play this build, you have 30k HP. Oh no, I'm on the wrong build, but you have this as where is it? If you play this build on a like a normal Ritualist build, where is it? I have it somewhere here. That's it, yeah. You have 21k HP, you have 70k HP in the Shroud, and you take 50% reduced damage on that. You're so tanky. This is insanely tanky. It's crazy. I'm a new player who plays with a few friends. I play supports in most games. We want to do World vs. World with a group of 2 or 3 people. Which support is the best in your opinion? I would say for exactly that content, I would say Tempest is really good. It shines in small groups as a support because you provide really unique buffs and a lot of healing. So Elementalist is really good, Tempest specifically, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you cannot save all of them, Patricia. You cannot save all of them, I guess. You can play other games and come back. Yeah, exactly. Guild Wars 2 is a game that you don't have to invest like 10 hours a day and play that for the next 10 years. You can come back at any time and leave and come back. It's really, really good. It's really like making your time being valued. I really think so. Yeah, getting in the World vs. World can be a bit of a challenge, but just join a Circ, so a 50-person group or something running around, and full exotic is completely fine. You don't have to switch gear around a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I personally think like the damage reduction in Shroud on Ritualist should be lowered. I think 50% for Core Necromancer is fine, but having that for Ritualist is too much. It's too much. You have the mobility and you have the damage reduction. I think that's too much. Yeah, no MMO is perfect. I agree. It's definitely the case. I think if you would merge all of the commonly popular MMOs right now into one and take only the best parts of them, I think you would have a masterpiece of game. But I think a lot of MMOs have issues. A lot of MMOs have really good things, but it's never one perfect. So that's how it goes. Hardest part is getting expansion relics. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. That is true. I would say I'm really happy that I have the legendary relic because I just have to unlock it once, the relic, and then I can use it in the legendary one, which is really good. But of course, for new player, you cannot do that. So yeah, that's why in my videos, I always try to mention at least one alternative relic, which is easy to get, because oftentimes that will not break the build at all. So yeah. Staff or daggers for Tempest, small group, World vs. World. I think depends a bit on your gameplay, how you enjoy it more. I think staff is really good if you just don't want to be in the face of the enemy. I personally would say dagger is a little bit better in like a small group because you are always on your target. You can heal them directly with your shouts and stuff like that, with your overlords. So I think dagger is slightly better in World vs. World in a small scale scenario. But as soon as you get in like a 50-man circ or something like that, I think staff becomes like better, personally, yeah. But I would say if you're on a small scale with friends, like of a group, like say around 5 people, I think dagger focus is probably the best choice there. Yeah, I think the idea is if you would make a new MMO, the idea would be to get the best ideas from the already existing MMOs and finding a way to get crazy amounts of content in a very short amount of time. So maybe make it AI generated, like that you have like some procedurally generated content, make it so that you have at the launch of the game content prepared for the next year, so that you launch the game with a specific amount of content, but over the course of the next year you already have updates planned so that you keep your players interested in playing the game. And then you also have like more features coming and stuff like that, so that there's always something new happening. I think if you take a lot of ideas from older MMOs and making it more attractive via the graphics and making it more interesting to play for a new player, I think you could nail an MMO really, really well. But it's hard. It's really hard. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's not, Hubby, you're right. It's for me as a veteran to craft a build, especially for World vs. World, is always like not like it's not easy to make a build that I can say this build you can change like this and that, and then you can play it as a core player. Oftentimes a core player just has to accept that it will be a weaker build, or you cannot play a build because you don't have access to the rune, you don't have access to the relic or the sigil or the elite spec. It's just at some point you have to make and get into the content that actually unlocks the stuff. That's how it is. But I think I try to always mention alternative runes and alternative relics. Those two are probably the hardest things to come buy for a lot of players, so I mention alternatives to them. Always happy to help, always happy to help. I didn't hear you, it's not Rob, I didn't hear you. Would you prefer tap target or action cam based? I think for me, that might be a really hot take, but I personally don't really care about what kind of combat it is, as long as it is well executed. So what do I mean by that? If you play a game that has action combat and it feels snappy, I like it. But as soon as it feels forced and I would say weird, or the camera movement is not like feeling that, like it feels a little bit clunky, or I just can't put my finger on it, or a tap target game that feels really slow, has like 5 seconds global cooldowns or something like that, that is horrible to me. I want a snappy game that is fast paced, and if a tap target game can perform on that, or action game can do that, I don't care. Just a good game, yeah, just a good combat. And I think a lot of people would agree. I think it's not about action or tap target, it's about if the combat is fun to play. And if whoever provides a new MMO and makes the combat feel really good, I think that's already a huge step in the right direction of a good game. Because a lot of games that come out, look at, for example, Thrones of Liberty. I know some people will hate me for that, but I think the combat is clunky. I really think so. And to me, I think if the combat is not really well done, then I will not play the game. Even if it like has insane amounts of content, if the combat is not well done, I will not play it. That's why I play a game. I want to have fun playing the game. I don't want to have a game where, yes, there is good content, but the raw like engagement that I get, entertainment from playing this content is really low, then I would not play it. I think that's, I don't know. That's just what I feel like. I know not everybody would agree here, and that is fine. That's just an opinion. Just saying, for me, that would be my biggest thing that I want to have with a new game. Yeah. If Anate wanted you to hire as a game dev right now, would you say yes? Let's pretend you have the technological expertise. I would say it depends on, for example, if Guild Wars 2 would need a balance dev, I think that I would be somewhat interested in that, yeah? Because I think balance is something that I actually know a lot about and could help them. If it would be something that is like around reward structures or something, I'm not sure. I think that is something that is a little bit like, people will always be upset. You know, you make 3 legendary gloves in the game, like 90% of the community loves you and 10% will like send you death threats. Okay, there are a lot of people here. Can we get the kill here? Yes, we can. That was surprising how fast our people died here. How did that die so fast? Just Luminary, I guess. But yeah, I would say, in general, Snowbleach, the answer to your question is yes. I would probably say yes. I want, if they would do a good game and I can be a part of making the game even better, I think that I would say yes, yeah. The biggest thing for me is that I don't have access to Spear yet. I mean, that's obviously a problem. Spear is a really good weapon, but there are good things without Spear, good builds. But I would say Spear is a very worthwhile investment. If you like Guild Wars 2, I think getting a Spear with the Chance of Wilds expansion is probably a good bet, yeah. Yeah, Caspi, I agree. I just want to showcase how good Ritualist is even after the nerfs, but I'm really bad at it. But yes, Ritualist needs to be deleted. A good point here in chat is decrease the damage reduction of your Shroud. That is something that is really annoying. That should not be in the game. That should not be there. Oh my god. What is this guy? Oh, they just like 5-person zerging. Classic unranked. You cannot showcase a normal build. You cannot showcase that. Sorry guys, not a good showcase of the build. But yeah, it's still good. It's still good. Guild Wars 2 combat is the best in all MMO genres, to be honest. I think some people agree that Guild Wars 2 combat is like awesome. Some people hate it. I just remember, if you know Lazy Peon, he visited the game like a couple of years ago, and he said one of the things about the game was that he didn't enjoy the combat, which was like crazy to me. That, you know, you can say it's not the best combat, but that you don't enjoy the combat in Guild Wars 2 is surprising to me, because I think one of the best parts about Guild Wars 2 is the combat. But everyone is different. Some people say that that is the thing that you... Everyone is different. Some people... Oh my god, this damage. It's so nasty. Yes, I finally connected my damage. Look, I could delete this guy in like to 90% of their health just with like 2 attacks. Its Ritualist damage output is crazy good. I'm new to the game, still leveling, but for the life of me, I cannot understand weapon swapping, when to swap and why to swap. So weapon swapping in Guild Wars 2, it's not a roleplay thing. It's a Guild Wars 2 combat thing. So weapon swapping in real life would be if you are using a sword in melee range, and as soon as the enemy runs away, you would pull out your longbow and shoot them. Yeah, it's a little bit different, but that's how it works. In Guild Wars 2 PvP or any game mode, weapon swapping is more about you have used all your attacks and you now swap to the other weapon. Or build up a combo or something and swap your weapon. That's how Guild Wars 2 is designed. The weapon swapping is not in terms of like roleplay. You have a ranged and a melee weapon. No, it's focused around being like a good combo that you would use in a scenario 1, and in scenario 2 you would use the combo and swap to a different weapon just to prolong your damage output. So now I used all my spear skills, I swapped to a staff to get some defenses, and then I swapped to my shroud to get some damage out. That is how you typically play, yeah, in Guild Wars 2. So weapon swapping is not really about getting like the value of like long ranged and a melee weapon. It's more about you use one weapon. Oh my god, I hate luminaries. Luminaries and Ritualist, I hate those specs in PvP. It's horrible. So that's why I have to play this. That's why I have to play Luminary, I guess, at some point. But it's very active and can see why it's not for everyone. Yeah, I agree. I think Guild Wars 2 is a very active game, but if you want to be like a little bit more passive and you want to be like casting a spell for 2 seconds and then going in and doing something else, then I think the game might not be for you, because you never can ever stand still. Like standing still in Guild Wars 2 PvP or in any game mode, actually, even in PvE, is like a death sentence. It is. So yeah, classic Zerg play in PvP here. But yeah, don't forget to change weapon and armor skins as long as you have transmutation charges. Yeah, I was watching the streamer yesterday who likes the combat but just loses every single fight, so he hates it. I think it's like a combat, to me, that might be a really hot take, but I think a game that you can learn within an hour as a MMO from a combat perspective cannot be a good combat. I think it needs to have a certain level of depth that you actually have a fun, engaging combat. I think if it should be easy to get into, but it should also have a high skill ceiling. And you cannot have a high skill ceiling, in my opinion, without having some necessary depth in the combat. So if someone starts the game and is like god tier after 1 hour of playing it, I think the game is probably not very deep in terms of combat mechanics. And that's what I don't really want. I want a game that has deep combat mechanics, so that if I start it, I understand the game somewhat, how it works on a basic level, and have fun. But to master it, I have to play it hundreds of hours. I think that is perfect how you would want to have it. And that's why I like Guild Wars 2. I think Guild Wars 2 could have an easier time to get into. I think it does a quite poor job to teach how the combat works. But I think the high skill ceiling of Guild Wars 2 is exactly what I want. At least for me, yeah. Visions of Eternity will unlock the elite specs, but you will not get the spear. The spear you will get from Chantier Wilds. So you have to get the other expansion for that. That's sadly how it works. Do you think you will do a solo small-scale roaming world versus world tier list soon again? Yes, I will do that. I will do that probably in the next couple of weeks, yeah. Coming up very soon. I will do build guides and tier list for the next foreseeable future, yes, on my YouTube channel. Would you talk about which classes are easier to get into if you want to start healing, support, and endgame activities? It's still Chronomancer, but I think, like, for example, Paragon is very easy as well. I think Paragon will be a very good contender for all game modes to get into supporting, because Paragon is very easy to get the boons out, very easy to get the healing out, and can fill almost everything that the group needs without a problem. So probably a very good choice as well, Paragon, yeah. Yeah, sorry. This time I didn't get the joke. While Elementalists, since they don't swap weapons, don't have equipped weapons on swap, doesn't it give you more stats? So if you're on an Elementalist, I can showcase this. If you're on an Elementalist, you can equip 2 weapons, just like usual. You can have, like, for example, I do here, a spear, and you can have a second spear here, yeah? You will only be able to swap out of combat though. So let me equip a staff so that you can see it. I have a spear and a staff. As soon as I go into combat, my weapon swap will go away, or will be locked, and I cannot use a weapon swap anymore. So Engineer and Elementalist cannot swap weapons in combat. So why would you equip a weapon in the other set if you cannot swap it? You can use that, for example, to stack sigils in World vs. World in PvE, or you can use it to switch around between fights. So if you know there will be a melee fight coming where you can go melee, then you go a different weapon set than for a ranged weapon set, stuff like that. But yeah, it's not important for this game to have a weapon swap on Elementalist. It's not necessary because you have really good attunement swaps as well. The difference in health pools between low and high is very high. Likely Thief has 13k HP in full circa and base health on Warrior is like 20k. Yeah, it's a really big difference. So if you start on Elementalist as a new player, you will have 11k HP as a level 80 character and you have a low armor. So you will die with 1 hit. Whereas a Warrior has a heavy armor and has 20k HP almost. So you will probably get not even half your HP taken away from the same hit. So on. Something like that. So Warrior is way more tanky, but it's also considered in the balancing. The attacks that Elementalist has access to, the cleanses, the healing, the teleports and stuff like that, are way more aggressively tuned than on Warrior, where on Warrior you only have like physical skills, so you don't have teleports, you don't have any like crazy attacks that can completely disrupt the whole fight. It's how Guild Wars 2 is balanced. So if you like to be the more impactful player, but squishy, then you would typically play Elementalist, which is not completely true anymore because elite specs completely changed the playing field. But from a core class design, Elementalist is completely squishy, whereas Warrior is tanky by design. That's how it is, yeah. Gale Shot is, I would say, if you want to get the highest damage numbers as a Gale Shot, I think Gale Shot is somewhat challenging to pick up. It's not the easiest one. I think Gale Shot is very squishy, has high damage and very fun, but it's very fast paced. So if you want to learn the rotation and get that down, it's definitely more challenging, like way more. That I would say Gale Shot is probably one of the most challenging ranger specs in all game modes because it is very focused around dealing damage while being evasive. And that's always something that is a very high skill ceiling because evasiveness means that you actually know what to dodge. As soon as you just randomly dodge, you will die in any game mode. So it's really important that if you want to be a Gale Shot and will be really good at it, then you should understand that you deal a lot of damage, but you're very squishy, so you have to live with that. One way or the other. Which of the new classes do you think are the biggest winners of World vs. World? I would say for support it's Paragon and Troubadour. And for damage, I would say it's probably like Evoker, Luminary, and Ritualist. Those 3, I would say. Yeah. What do you think is the current best Elementalist build for solo World vs. World roaming? I would say probably... I think Catalyst is still the best roamer. I think Evoker cannot compete with a Catalyst. I think Catalyst roamer, Dagger, or Scepter Dagger is so good. I think Catalyst is unbeatable as an Elementalist roamer. I think that is my take here, but I think I'm quite confident with this one. Yeah. What spec build would you recommend to someone who is new and loses every single game in PvP? So first of all, if you start with PvP and you're new, expect to lose every single game. You should not go in and expect to win everything. You know, you are new. Why would you expect that you beat people that actually played the game before? So just try to understand what killed you, try to get better at it. But I would say Necromancer in general, because of its 2 life pools and the rather slow-paced gameplay, is probably the easiest class to get into. But it is heavily depends on what kind of playstyle you like. You know, some people like to be sneaky and fast, mobile, then you go for Thief. Some people want to be supportive, then you go, for example, for a Guardian maybe, with a support Firebrand, support Core Guardian, or go for even support Luminary, something like that. Or if you want to be like very squishy and deal a lot of AoE damage, then you go for Spear Evoker. You should go for the build that you enjoy, stick to it, and try to get better, understand why you lost, and you will improve over time. That's what I can say. And of course, watch good people playing PvP, like really good people, like Grimcheck, like Boys, those people, like Cosy here in chat. Watch those people on stream and get knowledge from them. Yeah. Yeah, Evoker is really good in World vs. World. Has insane Condi glances as well. I would say I actually have a build guide coming up about the support Evoker in World vs. World as well. Sorry that I forgot it. Good points. Yeah, it's also very good. Condi Dagger? Yeah, I would say like you can play Marauder or Celestial. Both of them work. How's the performance of the new expansion? I would say it depends on what kind of... Like, some people had really bad performances. I had really good performances with better graphics as well. So I think it depends who you asked. This is a support Guardian that is already dead. Okay. What the fuck? The damage. But I also look at the... This guy is dead. I have to concentrate here to get the kill on this guy. I really, really dislike Ritualists, so we have to kill them. Very good. I couldn't get PvP to click until I played Guardian in there, more specifically Willband and Luminary. Yeah, I think you have to find a build that you like, because not everybody likes every build, and sometimes you have a very, very bad time for playing a build that you don't like, and you don't even notice that it's the build. Some people say it's, oh, PvP, I don't like PvP, but in the end it's not PvP that you don't like, it's just the wrong build that you don't like. Oh, this is not good. I cannot talk and like play this very squishy build at the same time. I noticed it's really like I will die very fast. Very sad, very sad. If you recommend the Earth line on your support Evoker, I will be disappointed. No. I would not play Earth. Like, you play... I mean, it depends. It depends what kind of Evoker you're going for. Like, if you go for a really, really big healing Evoker build, you will see how good this one is. Yeah, you will see. Yeah. Yes, support is really good in PvP as a, like, if you want to play Spectre, you can play Spectre as a... I wouldn't say you play as a support. You play as a flexible pick that can also play as a support. Spectre is one of the hardest classes to play in PvP. Nice, we got a kill here. Nice. In the 1v2. But I think I will die now anyway. But we got in a 1v3 a kill. I'm happy with that. But yeah, Spectre, you play as a Condi build, but you can provide support to your allies nonetheless. So you don't play a full support, but you play a hybrid support. It's one of the most unique roles, and it's still to this day a very, very good spec. Maya plays it to the highest level, and it's so good. It's really, really good. I really like Spectre. I'm not good at it, but I think it's a really cool idea of having a support and a DPS build in one that is flexible and running around the map. I don't know. I feel like, oh my god. You have to focus on this guy here. That's crazy. always 2 people on me. For a beginner, Elementalist or Necromancer better? I would say Necromancer is better. Yes. I'm gonna make a Necro Reaper, I think. Any suggestions? So yeah, Reaper is really good. You can play as really good DPS power build. You can play as a Condi build, a solo build. There are so many options. Reaper is really flexible. Yeah. How are Thief specs? I would say Thief, with the exception of Spectre, is really good as a DPS build. That's it. If you want to play a DPS, so really focus on dealing a lot of damage, then it's really good. As soon as you want to be a support, Spectre is the only one that you like, that you will be able to play. So let's come on, this guy, now we can focus them and kill them, hopefully, come on. We'll focus on this guy now. Nice, we got them. This is a fun spec, I really like this one. I mean, it's also broken right now, don't get me wrong, but it does a lot of damage. In an AoE. That's good enough already. Come on, you kept the point, I don't want to. Does elemental change count as a weapon change? Yes, it does. That's the very important. Legend swapping, kit swapping, attunement swapping, that all counts as weapon swapping. That is a support core guardian with the elite signet. That is a cook. That is a cook. Nice. We got him. I've been playing Celestial Harbor a few days now. World vs. World roaming. It's so good. Yes, it is amazing. Still, to this day, very, very good build. Oh, I hate ritualists. I really do. In PvP, that is. I think I got him. I have to use my elite. That's sad, but okay. We still got him. No, we can't leave him. Support. Oof. I have to check their self-dressing. So we hit them. Very good. Again, self-dressing. We have to hit them. I will catch up in chat after this match. I just want to like not lose this. It's because it's actually surprisingly close for an unranked match. Oh, did they get help? No, they don't. Very good. Welcome, Arthur. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing fine today. So we got the kill here. Stillness is up in a few seconds. We have to be careful because they will get bottom buff, but I don't care. I cannot go to both buffs. I guess no one is at bottom buff, then that's good. Then I will go bottom. I thought they will already have someone at bottom, but I guess no one is there. It was a rather good air swap because that cleansed my blind. I will just go for the cap and force this guy. Okay, very good. Nice, we got the kill. There we go, now we can cap. Nope. That is a very close match. Why is it so close? I didn't even die like too many times, so normally if I don't die, that means that I win the match. The visual clutter is insane on this. Look at this. Like, if you're a new player and watching this, I'm really sorry for you. The visual clutter is insane. We won a 2v3, to be honest. I'm already happy. What is my team doing? Double capping mid at, like, okay, without an enemy there. I guess that's what they are doing. Fine. It's fine. So now we can catch up. Why is there not a build with full grieving stats? The problem is grieving stats is not providing you expertise. So there are 2 builds or something that work like that, like Condition Reaper, for example, or like a specific Firebrand build or something like that. So Grieving is giving you power, precision, and a lot of like condition damage, but it doesn't provide you any expertise. So expertise increases the condition duration. Yeah. So if you're playing, wait, oh my god. If you are playing a build that provides only 1 condition, you can cap it out at 100% condition duration without going expertise, like with runes, with sigils, with food, stuff like that, with traits. And then you can choose power-based weapons on top of that so that you get a lot of power value. But this is so many conditions that your build has to meet that it is actually quite hard to find a build that works like that. So Condition Reaper is one of the only ones, yeah. Just use the boost on a thief that I want to use in PvP. What spec would you recommend first? Daredevil might be the easiest. What is the most fun? I think Spectre is the most fun, but it's definitely more challenging to learn. Holy shit. Stop it. Got him. Okay. Yeah, I think Daredevil is probably the easiest to understand how it plays, but it's also squishy. So Thief is always somewhat challenging to learn. You just have to accept that and slowly go from there. Ooh. Oh, there are so many people on me. At least my team is now here. Come on, you can get it. You can get the rest. Please, guys. Now we lost the match. My team is trolling very hard, I have to be honest. But it's fine, it's just an unrank. Have you now understand people trying to self-res while getting camped? Is it a humiliation fetish? They don't even play PvP and know that. I think it's, for me, it's like people always expect someone else to do a mistake and like forget them. But I feel like it's so, like, you never forget anybody like self-resing. I think self-resing in PvP is like a very, very easy mistake that you might do very, very fast as a new player. As soon as you did it once, you will probably learn and avoid it. So self-resing means that you resurrect yourself in downset, and I would say that in 99% of the cases it will not work. It will just not work. You will always be like denied, and you will be in downstate for longer than you anticipated. Good dodge, my friend. Very good dodge. That's fine. Very good. So let's catch up on chat. I was also thinking Firebrand or Reaper. I think Reaper is easier. Firebrand is one of the hardest classes to pull it off, but it could work. It could work. I think Firebrand is like, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Firebrand might not be the best one for that. I think Reaper is easier. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. But is it true Condition Antiquary is the best DPS wise at the moment? Yes. Condition Antiquary does like, what is the DPS number? Like 63k or something? 66k even if you have good RNG or something, I saw. So really high damage numbers, but it's RNG based. So it has some kind of randomness attached to it. Even the best performing player with the perfect rotation will at some point only reach like only 57k DPS, which is obviously still a high number, but it's not as high as other, like, times other pulls. Yeah. I have a problem with knowing when to dodge and what attacks other specs do. How do I get better? Just play more. It's a really sad answer here, but if you want to get better and understanding how to dodge enemies' attacks, what attacks you have to dodge, play more. Play your own spec more, play their specs to understand what kind of attacks have high impact, stuff like that. But it's really, patience is the key. Just trying to improve, having the mindset of I want to get better and playing more. That is typically the best way to improve at a game. And it's the same for Guild Wars 2. Yeah. What's your main in PvP? I play all the classes. I have no main. I think it heavily depends on the meta. Like before Visions of Eternity released, I played a lot of Condi Reaper. Now I play a lot of Spear Evoker rather, which I am not good at yet. So I started after the expansion came out. Before that, I played a lot of like Chronomancer, and I just switch around, play the spec that I like. I played a lot of Willbender. Whatever currently is good in the meta, I play because I have fun playing good specs. But I try also some underrated specs and make build guides about it. Yeah, like one of my most favorite all-time builds is Fireweaver, but it's not really good right now. Yeah. Do you have a tier list of just the best specs for group content, something like standard comms with well-seen specs? I think nowadays it doesn't really make sense to say what's the best composition anymore, because it heavily depends on what kind of players you have. Every single spec has a really good support spec. So I have tier lists coming up like this week, and I actually have a defensive support tier list coming up, but also other like things. I will do more tier lists about all the stuff, but I think it's every single class can be played in every single role. So it's unfair to say this is the best group to have like in a strike mission. I think that's just not doing it justice. So right now, every like class is really good, especially with Divisions of Eternity release. Blishart doesn't have a DPS meter. It's like you can have the DPS meter from Arc DPS. So if you switch to a PvE map, you can use Arc DPS there, which is the add-on here on the left side. When you buy Soto, it becomes with level 80 boost? Yes, every single expansion that you buy comes with level 80 boost. That's why I have so many lying around. I have 2 lying around and I used like 3 or something. So yeah, you can do that. Do you think Celestial Dagger Cutter works as power? Yes, you can blade it with Marauder as well. Yes. You can blade it as well. Yes, I'm a German. There should be a Black Friday sale coming very soon at the end of the month, I agree. And then there will probably be some big sales for the expansions. So if you can be patient and want to get the expansion anyway, at some point, Black Friday deals probably make you save some money there as well. Yeah, good point. Yeah, Ritualist is like a weird spec. You're completely right there. The Ritualist spec as a power or Quickness DPS feels like exactly like Harbinger. Like a power Harbinger, just with a more tanky Shroud. And I would say even easier to perform on. So I think Ritualist is just like power creeping Harbinger as a power build. Condi Harbinger is still very good, but power Ritualist is just straight up better than power Harbinger. It's sad, but that's how it is, yeah. Can you explain what's the difference between healing and healing power? For example, Run Monk and Rune of the Water. Okay, yeah, sure. I will showcase this. Give me a second. I switched to a healing build. Not here. Give me a second. Here's my Mesmer. Yeah. So, healing power increases the amount of healing that you do. Yeah. So, I go to a healing build. And I'm now having, like, let's say I have 1260 healing power, which increases my healing. So for example, this attack heals me 2139. So that means this attack has a base healing, and if you have healing power, it increases the base healing by a certain fraction. Yeah. So oftentimes, if I now swap to a gear or like a, let's say I swap to, let's showcase this. I get some healing power somewhere. Give me a second. Or let's just look at like this well. This well heals 2318 health. If I swap to a different gear set that has no healing power, then it only heals 1300. So you lose like 1000 healing from not having healing power. So healing power increases the healing of your attacks as well as the healing of your healing from regeneration and passive heals and stuff like that. Some of them scale very well with healing power, some of them don't. So if I swap to healing gear, I get like 1000 heal out of that. If you now have healing increases, like for example, where is it? Here, Bountiful Maintenance Oil, which increases the healing to allies by a certain fraction. That means that it will, after calculating everything, will increase the outgoing healing. So if this spell heals for 2300 and I have a healing modifier for outgoing healing of like 50%, it will actually heal my allies for over 3.5k. So outgoing healing modifiers always comes as last thing. Healing power just increases the base healing, and the base healing itself is always there. So base healing is always there even if I have 0 healing power. So on this build I have 0 healing power. my wells still heal 1300. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. That's fine, that's fine. Is it possible to run a power amalgam, or is the Condi still the better version? Both of them are fine. I think there was a bug with one of the traits. That's why power was not really being tested that much. Well, one trait is worthless, then you will typically not play this if you lose like 10% or something like DPS. So they fixed it as far as I know, and now you can play power amalgam as well. If I purely wanted to top DPS without having to play a piano sheet, what build would you suggest? Probably like some kind of like necromancer build, like power reaper, power ritualist, something like that. They are quite easy to play with the APM and have still high damage output, at least. Yeah, no power amalgam today. No power amalgam today. We will try it later in a later stream, but not today. How is Mirage, Cody Staff X in PvP and World vs. World roaming? It's okay. It's not crazy good. I would say it's B tier. You can play it, but it's not crazy good. For World vs. World roaming on a Mirage, typically like Celestial or Trailblazer gear. That's what I would recommend. Like going full tank or going like really annoying Celestial build, that's what I would recommend. Condi Mechanist is also very easy, but I think Condi Mechanist is higher buttons per second than, for example, a low intensity Reaper or something like that. Yeah. But I think it heavily depends what kind of class you like. Every single class has a rather easy to play DPS build. It's not always the highest DPS build, but every class has that. So choose the class that you like, and then you can find a build for that. Yeah, Ritualist can be very piano, but you don't have to play it like that. I think that's the important part, but you're right. I think it always depends on what kind of build you're going for. You know, you can make a really, really crazy high APM piano style evoker build, but you can also make a build that is like focused around like almost only auto taking. That can also work. It's really depending on the build that you choose. How viable would you say is a lightning hair evoker with a hammer as a weapon? Viable, but quite low on the spectrum. So I would say you can play it, but almost every other power-based weapon is probably better. I think lightning evoker is typically you play again scepter or maybe even sword. This is like just sadly the superior choice. Hammer, spear in PvE seem like not very good choices a lot of the times, just from the raw damage numbers. Yeah. I really don't know what to do with the Luminary. I'm just not feeling it. I'd rather play any other Guardian. It just feels better. But I see people praising Luminary, so maybe I just don't understand the spec. I think not every spec has to be for you. You know, I, for example, know that a lot of people love Ritualist, but I'm not like, it doesn't click for me. Yeah. So I would rather play like a Harbinger or Reaper or even a Scourge. I think that's okay. Not every spec has to be for you. You know, that's just how unique specs are. So I think if you don't like Luminary, don't play it. Maybe come back in a couple of months, maybe then it clicks for you, but you don't have to force it, I would say. There are so many new specs, maybe try one of them, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, as Snowbleach already mentions, I think this is the end of the stream. Thanks a lot, and be sure to check out my YouTube channel. I still have for a couple of hours my giveaway going on for 1.5k gold. Be sure to check that one out, and yeah. Thanks a lot for watching. I had a blast. It was really fun. I wish you all a very nice weekend, very nice day, and I hope to see you in the next streams. Take care, my friends. See you around.